Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Second Wind's Firelink podcast. This is episode number 4 for Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024. My name is Marty Sliva. I'm joined by my co-host KC Nwosu and Nick Calandra, and of course, our producer Eric on the wheels of steel. Welcome, everyone. It's 2024. We did it. I think it's the first time I said it out loud. That might be the first time I said 2024 out loud.
We live entirely too much on the internet, if that's the truth.
I've typed it a lot. I've typed it a ton. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for our inaugural Firelink of the year. We have a wonderful show for you today. We're going to be going over Second Wind's plans for 2024. Stuff you can expect short term, stuff that you can expect probably this week and next week, stuff that you can expect a little long term. And sort of our big goals for the year. And then, of course, as you see for our main topic, just a big beefy preview of games we're excited for in 2024. Because everyone thought 2023, that's it. It peaked. Those were all the games. Not true. They kept making them. I thought it was like the end of the trilogy. But then it turned out Palpatine was back and there's just more games.
So, no. Can they hear that, or is that just our nightmare?
We'll find out in a second from chat.
Okay. Nick, what are our plans for the year?
More of that. I completely derailed the entire discussion. You guys are welcome for that.
Eric, do you have the power to disable that? Because I think you might need to.
Nah. We've got a lot of cool plans for the year. Marty, you were about to go over our merch plans because
no, you can go over them, Nick.
You want me to go over the merch plans?
Oh yeah, please. Yeah, please do that. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Nick. You do a lot of preparation for the podcast.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I think Marty wants to actually reach through the screen and murder me.
No. Tell people about the merch.
He's dying.
These are the consequences of your own actions.
Yes, welcome back to Firelink. We have a whole new line of merch up for you to look at.
Oh, Nick, at the top of the podcast, we let people know ways they can support us. So you might want to do that as well.
I am through the merch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we start usually with Patreon, though. Patreon's kind of the big one, the main way they can support us.
True. Okay, so you can check us out on Patreon. We now have annual memberships available with a 10% discount every tier. And then we have new merch lined up today with new designs for Semi-Ramblematic, Backdrop, and what was the other one? Oh yeah, Adventure is Nigh, right there. I see it. I keep forgetting that one's up because we have.
Where's the Design Delve merch?
Those are up too. We have Founders Designs back up for long sleeve sweatshirts and hoodies, and there's also hats. The hats are really cool. Fuller Emblematic hat specifically is really dope looking. We'll be getting more designs too for hats like Cold Take down the line, more Second Wind stuff. People have been asking for beanies, socks, pins, cushions, all that kind of stuff. So all that stuff will be coming as well.
Cushions?
Did I say cushions? I said I like combine the two of like pin cushions.
Oh, pins and cushions.
But I don't remember what a pin cushion is.
Cushions?
I don't remember what a pin cushion is.
A pin cushion is a thing you put pins in if you're like a knitter or a seamstress.
Yeah, all our crafty fans out there know what a pin cushion is.
Instead of plushies, we'll get voodoo dolls of the characters.
Oh, no, let's not do that.
Take off KC's hands.
Someone's going to lose an arm? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that idea.
Rip. Check that out. And for Phoenix tier members, you have a discount to the merch store. So check that out. That all on it today. It's very, very exciting stuff. And then, of course, as Nick mentioned, supporting us the best way is through Patreon. We appreciate all of your incredible patronage. Remember, $5 and up gets access to all the columns. Darren is just banging out columns. I still got 3 columns I was working on over break. I didn't finish any of them. I'm going to be honest. I was like, how much work am I going to do over break? And I ended up saying little. Very little. Every time I was like, this is going to be it. I'm going to spend a few hours this morning to write. I thought you
said you finished them in the meeting this morning.
I never said that. Absolutely didn't say that. I said I finished all the scripts I had to write today.
Oh.
Yeah, someone's an adsman. And then, of course, your generous super chats here and your donations, whether it's here, whether it's on Twitch, which we're not live on for this one, or PayPal, are greatly appreciated. Just like Vitus, thank you so much. 1,600 yen. Marty's intros are better, TBH.
I agree. I learned my lesson about using soundboards for
The
now.
consequences of your actions.
Yeah, there's a specific segment for that called unforeseen consequences.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, but what other big plans does Second Wind have in 2024? 2 months into our inception.
Yeah, really. It is incredible that it's only 2 months in. Like we just put up our end of year revenue report, and we are so far and away ahead of what I thought we were going to be. Somebody in the Discord asked. I was always hesitant about giving out that number, but now that it's in Discord, I'm like, whatever. Somebody asked what our initial like thinking was for Patreon, and when we put our like document together for like what is like a year look like for success for a Second Wind? Like, what do we need to basically survive at the bare minimum? And it was like 12.5K a month on Patreon. And we are doing, over 60K right now, which is really, really good. We've had a lot of additional signups today with the new ad and Fully Emblematic, and then a lot of people switching over to annual memberships. So, like we were saying a few minutes ago, you can go annual, you can go monthly, whatever works best for you. You do get a 10% discount if you go annual, and we get the payment up front, so that's really helpful in kind of helping us build that big war chest that we're building that you've seen through the revenue report that is going well for us. So we do start paying ourselves in February, so that's coming up really quick. Thankfully, my savings are running dry. And mortgages are expensive. Did you guys know that?
I was acutely aware. Yes.
Yes,
I heard.
Yeah. I need to be paid. But anyways, in general, for what's coming up soon, we are getting ready to launch a new show called Chronicle. We've mentioned this one publicly. We just haven't shown it off yet. But it is the return of the Stuff of Legends 2.0, basically. But with some twists and turns here and there. You may see some new characters. There was already a tease of a new character in another video that I won't tell you. You have to go through the entire channel, watch all of our videos to find it. Good luck.
What? I've watched all the videos. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Ooh, KC doesn't even know.
Have I watched all the videos? Now you're making me question if I've watched all our videos.
Yeah, it's in there. It's
Sanabi. Congrats, Sanabi. You're a part of the Chronicle universe.
Well, all right. I'll narrow it down. It's a design delve video. You can find it in a design delve video. There's a new character in there somewhere.
Huh.
But yes, that'll be Chronicle, and that should be ready in the next few weeks. And then Javed Starrett is obviously going full time with us and working with us. And he will be bringing Good Blood over as his own video series to Second Wind. So we've been kind of on the lookout for what in the frame of video games look like, or the backdrop of video games might look like now. And Good Blood is our answer to that, hopefully. I think if anybody's going to do it, Javed's the one to do it. So we're really excited about that. He was also playing
favorite video essays on the internet.
Yeah, he was also playing The Outer Wilds over break, and I basically tweeted him and was like, "You need to make a video on that." And he's like, "Okay, you got it." I was like, "All right, good. We're good."
Game.
Yeah, I like this.
Also, that developer needs to make another game. What's going on?
Yeah,
Masioka, get on it.
Masioka, get on it. You got to put down that Blue Eye Samurai. You got to pick up some fucking.
Wait, did he help with that?
No, he was the voice of the big guy without any
Ringo?
hands.
I've been wondering what the hell Masioka's been up to for years. I had no idea he was Ringo.
Living the dream. I'm just watching now. That's why I do that.
Nice.
So yeah, those are their two new shows. We've got a bunch of streams coming up. We're starting to get those in order. So I think tomorrow we're launching our first kind of new one, which will be a stream from me. Basically be we're tentatively calling it Shoot the Shit. Because I will just get on every Thursday from 3 to 5 p.m. Central to play whatever multiplayer game I'm feeling. It's basically just my relaxation time. So tomorrow I'll just be playing some Call of Duty multiplayer, I think with Frost. Maybe Will if I have to move it back an hour, so we'll see. But we'll just be kind of chilling out, talking and shooting shit. That's basically what that one's going to be. Marty, you have the schedule for the other stuff that's coming up, but Devil May Cry continues tomorrow, I believe, yes?
Yes.
Yep. We're going to Devil May Cry tomorrow. Don't want to lock anything in specifically because dates are a little fluctuating. But if there were shows you enjoyed back at the Escapist, chances are some version of them or maybe that pairing will be coming back. If you liked the pairing of Jess, Jesse, and Casey playing Secret Diamonds, title pending. Keep an eye on that. And so, yeah, and then if you just, if you remembered how often we streamed Back to the Escapists, which is several times a day, you can expect that kind of thing over here with familiar faces and new faces alike. So, yeah, all throughout January, we'll be rolling out new stuff. We're just really excited and so stoked to have you guys aboard. Whether you're a part of the Patreon, whether you tune into all these streams live, listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, just read our articles, just stumble upon us. It really means a lot to us, and we're gonna do right by you this year. We got some real good shit planned.
Yeah, that's lots of exciting stuff in the works. Some stuff we can't even talk about yet, like documentary projects.
We go to jail if we talk about
it. We probably do go to we talk about some of the documentary projects that I'm looking to line up. But yeah, looking to do
January
documentaries
6th. Was it real or nah?
Oh man, this is why we need a soundboard.
Our voices are soundboards. You realize our voices are soundboards. Eric, you gotta take those privileges away from everyone.
Yeah, I want to on record. I am vehemently against soundboard usage.
So am I. I am absolutely. That is bush league shit.
It's only because I get.
It is bush league shit. It is bush. Use your voice and your creativity.
My voice is too monotone to make a high pitched sound like that.
And we did pass 400K subscribers over on YouTube, which thank you guys so much.
Oh, awesome!
We did pass 400,000 subscribers. New poster on Twitter. But yeah, in general, just lots of cool stuff planned. People have been asking about some of our longer term plans. I'm like, I'm not even thinking that far ahead right now. Like, we're thinking 3 months ahead right now. Some of the bigger ideas we have are like somewhere down the line, like for the 5th year of Escapist, we wanted to do our first in-person community meetup event. Obviously, think everything happened and we have to rethink that, but we do want to do some in-person community event for Second Wind at some point. Within the next year or so, hopefully. Not a big expo or anything like that, just something, smallish, but who knows what the future holds for stuff like that. Obviously,
I'm going to go to an Applebee's and tweet out my location, tell everyone to meet me there. We'll be at Applebee's for 2 hours.
But yeah, in general, the main thing we're doing now, because we are incorporated finally, so we are officially a worker co-op, if you didn't know that. So that means employee owners. And no like corporate structure or anything like that. So we're pretty much all equal in some way or form. And then in general, next steps is getting our job descriptions and contracts figured out. So somebody would, I think a Blue version was asking if I'm content director and editor in chief. I think I'm going back to editor in chief just because that's easier.
It's whatever you want to be, man. We make the rules.
Yep. Cool. I'm soundbite chief.
Let's get rid of that position.
And by the co-op thing, we're allowed to, if someone breaks the bylaws, we're allowed to vote them out. So.
Just fire me. Yep, I can get fired for sound bites.
Yeah.
that'd be worth it, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. It would definitely be worth it to get fired for sound bites.
I got fired for I lost my house because I made a fart noise.
And folks would be like, "Oh yeah, that checks out."
It happens to a lot of us.
I get it.
Yeah.
What other way what other way would I go?
Exactly.
That or like a D's Nuts joke that just didn't make any sense.
There's already a bunch of donations coming in. Thank you so much, Abdel. Appreciate the dono. So if the membership is a bird hatching and growing, does it mean the Second Wind is a monthly Tamagotchi subscription? Oh my god.
I love that.
I love it too. Man, I was terrible taking care of my Tamagotchis, if I'm being honest. Those fools died all the time.
I had a Gigapet first, and it was like Tamagotchi's like Japanese made or branded or whatever. Gigapet was like the American equivalent. And I had like a 101 Dalmatian one, and my dog lived for so long that my friends were like, "What's going on?" And like someone sabotaged and murdered my dog out of jealousy.
One of your 101 Dalmatians? Though you had 100 other ones, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I just moved on to the next one. So,
did you know that the 101 Dalmatians were in Kingdom Hearts and you needed to find them all? There were so many of them.
What were those?
I thought there were 101.
There were so many of them.
That's
so many.
Remember when Furbies were popular?
We do.
Yeah.
Those things were creepy.
You know what's popular? You know what the big popular thing now? These fucking Stanley Cups. Do y'all know what's going on with these Stanley Cups?
Yeah. So
yeah.
It's a bunch of fucking mugs. No, not the Stanley Cup.
No, not that one.
What?
Stanley Cup. Stanley, this brand of cups. Kids are going
Is
just
a
fucking
brand
wild
of
for them.
cup?
It's like a brand of like fucking
Yeah, it's like
cup.
a
Algae
thermos
travel mug.
Tart.
type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
People are going nuts at stores about them. I don't know what's going on.
So you don't know the origin of why they've become a
No, and
phenomenon?
and I don't want to learn either. I
You
just
don't
think
want to learn?
everyone needs to
What?
just like cool
It's
down
actually
a fucking
it's
cup,
kind of a
dog.
cool story, but like yeah, the
Okay.
reaction to it is dumb.
Okay, I kind of want to learn now.
So apparently I'm paraphrasing, don't quote me. This is what I've gathered from internet osmosis. A lady posted a video about how her car was either in some sort of a wreck or vandalized, and like it was on fire and blew up, and everything in the car was wrecked except for the Stanley Cup. The Stanley Cup survived this inferno, and the Stanley people, saw that video and was like, wow, that's amazing that we're getting all this press coverage because of the video you posted. So we're going to replace your car. And so that gave them even more goodwill. And now
I
everyone just
remember that
wants the
story.
cups.
I didn't know that was Stanley Cup. So
Yeah, so that's
it?
the reason. Yeah.
People are going hog wild. Man, that was a good business.
And that's stupid. That's stupid. Like I don't know why people need to like lose their mind over it at this point, but it's a viral thingy.
There you go. Status symbol.
So I searched it on Amazon. I sent Eric the link in the chat. There's a tray to put on the top of your cup to hold your snacks.
Snack tray. Where else you can put your snacks?
How do you drink from the cup?
In a bowl. Well, it's got a straw. But you're like huff up like nacho cheese dust as you drink your straw.
Yeah, happens to the best of us. He who has not huffed up nacho cheese dust cast the first stone. Incredible. For people who just how do people who need that thing like that live? How do they live? How do they survive?
They don't.
In the wilderness of every day.
How do I drink water from this stream? I don't have my Stanley Cup to boil it.
How do I do this? King Dead with a $2 dono. Thank you so much. Who are you declaring war on with this chest? Yeah, we just started calling it a war chest, and we kept calling it a war chest.
It's just
for
a cool
few
word.
times I was gonna be like, can we call it something else? But it's
cool.
I don't know.
It's a cool word.
You would call it like a rainy day fund. War chest is cooler.
Yeah.
We're not going to war.
We might.
We've been at war.
You don't know.
Account. It's just a savings account. A zero interest savings account.
False. It is an interest savings account.
Should we be like invested in stocks and bonds and shit?
What about I saw that Dumb Money movie? Should we invest in GameStop?
No, we shouldn't.
Oh, okay.
That's probably an easy call there.
Patreon funds towards the GameStop.
Abdel Corrales, thank you so much. And Green Gang, fun intro. Happy New Year, BT Dub. Same to you, Abdel.
Happy New Year.
So much. Harry Son, $5 Australian. Thank you so much, Harry Son. Happy New Year, team. Finally started watching Adventures 9, and I cannot believe I never watched it back on ye old channel. I've deprived myself of greatness. Thank you so much, Harry Son. As you know, we are re-releasing season 3 week by week. The new episodes, the last 3 episodes of the season you have not seen, will be premiering in February. And then, of course, as you see, our current super chat funding goal is for season 4 of Adventures 9 on location this spring, which you are very excited for. And also, we are remastering seasons 1 and 2. Those will be available at some point in the future. And then the audio versions are going to be available, right? Or
they're already available. Yep, they're already available on Spotify. So
if you want to get
season 1 and 2, season 3 will be up when it's done. And Amy booked her flight to DC, so we are set in stone. We are going.
At least
District of Columbia.
District of Columbia.
Oh, is this for our January 6th documentary?
Real or not? Void America.
Real or not? And Miss Maiko, welcome to Tip Jar. Thank you so much, Miss Maiko. Appreciate it. And Vitus, another 800 yen. Thank you so much. Is there a regular schedule for Bite Size, or is it whenever someone on staff really wants to talk about a game? Been loving the Indie Rec so far. Let's celebrate. Hell yeah. It does not have a regular schedule. It's not like your Cold Take or your Design Delve or your Fully Ramblomatic. It is more... things are going to ebb and flow. We'll have some weeks where there's 0, aka this week. We'll have some weeks where there's probably 2. So it's going to be partly at the mercy of new releases. There's going to be some sometimes we might have one that's not about the newest game. Maybe it'll be an anniversary. Maybe it'll be just a slightly older game someone wanted to talk about. But I can tell you we have several in the works currently by several different people, including several people on this podcast. So that's 2 people. It's me and you.
Me? Oh.
Oh,
what am I working?
I don't know why I said me and you. I was looking at Casey and I was like, I can't say you. That's not how the word you works.
And you can't even look at KC. Nobody can see that.
I looked at Casey. What?
Oh, you have to look. You have to on the podcast.
You have to like,
you have to look
look
left.
diagonal or something.
Oh, I
Like,
don't even know where Casey is. Some Brady Bunch nonsense. But yeah, we have a lot of those plans. So stay tuned. I'm glad you've been digging them because I'm really proud of them so far. And then Fungus Finder, $2 dono. So we're on a low budget morning radio show now. These nuts and the chuckle fucks.
We've always been on a low budget radio show.
I don't think that's true. I feel like we hit a new low today.
Yeah, whatever budget we were on, we just lost it.
I think we started off.
The more money we raise on Patreon, the lower budget we go.
I think we started off in a goddamn canyon. Do you guys want to talk about 2024?
Yeah.
We've kind of already been talking about 2024.
The closer it gets to November, I don't.
Why? What's in November?
Nothing.
What?
There's got to be something in November.
Thanksgiving. They're still doing Thanksgiving, right?
It's called elections in November.
Oh crap! No, we're not going to talk about that. We're talking.
You got it, Marty. No, Marty had already completely blanked it from his mind. He's like, no.
For a documentary. Yeah,
I don't even remember that's.
We wanted to do a big run through of so a lot of the games we're excited for, stuff we're excited for, what we hope to see, stuff we know we're going to see, stuff we have our fingers crossed that we're going to see. We don't really have like a way of talking about this. I figured I slotted things into 5 separate columns of Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, big old third party, and then just indies. And some of them, I'm going to be honest, I think some of the third party things are indies. I think some of the indie things are third party. I don't know how any of these
put a Warhammer Space Marine 2 in the indies thing.
Oh, I think I meant to put in the other one. I don't know how that got there. But yeah, I guess we'll kick things off with Sony, if only because they are at the top of my dock.
That's how
they're at the top of your dock, and they're also the most mysterious of what's going on.
Yeah, I would
aside from other canceled games as a service project.
Yeah, Sony's 2023 was strange. Spider-Man, big hit, a lot of thumbs up. Kinda got lost in a sea of 10s, which is something that it's kind of a bummer for a lot of really good games of last year, like your Jedi Survivors got lost just because it was one of those years. And then obviously Insomniac, we don't need to go into the details, but the criminal hack that happened at the end of the year, really was a real shitty end of the year for Insomniac and for Sony in general. But then besides that, they had Valhalla's Ragnarok DLC, or Ragnarok's Valhalla DLC. Jesus, why do we need more Norse words? We gotta have more Norse words than Ragnarok and Valhalla.
Yeah, they keep going back and forth.
Creed Valhalla had a Ragnarok DLC.
It absolutely did. Yes.
Yep.
Christ on a cracker. And so I feel like they're stepping into 2024, and like Nick said, what they have going on is sort of nebulous. We know The Last of Us Part 2 on PS5 is coming out later this month, which if you haven't played it, that's cool. If you have played it, it was already a really good looking game, so not sure what's going on there. And then some of their sort of newer first party or games that some of us still consider third party games, we know we're going to be coming out this year. Helldivers 2, which actually looks like a big improvement over Helldivers 1. Destiny 2: The Final Shape is coming out in June. And then they've aligned themselves with some third party games. Your Rise of Ronin, your Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, your Death Stranding 2. But yeah, I don't know, Nick. What are your thoughts on Sony this year?
I really don't know. I mean, I feel like this is the year that we finally get like new game announcements from Naughty Dog and Sucker Punch and all that. I think we're due to see what Ben's studio's been working on all this time since Days Gone.
They had a mysterious tweet the other day.
They did.
Ben,
what was it?
Yeah. This is just great radio. I don't know. I clicked it.
It was
They,
that
Uh,
mysterious.
they said, "Hey, January 2nd. Hey,
Oh, okay. I
That,
don't
kind
know
of
what that.
mysterious.
that was it.
Hey,
That's their. We're doing something this year,
Yeah,
probably.
they're waking up. It's like we
Yeah,
haven't used this in a really long time. Does this still work?
yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, mostly, I'm really mostly just curious to see what their service plans have shaped up to be, because I mean, like, Helldivers 2 is looking like the only active service game that is going to actually come out, and like we had a good time streaming the first one, so I'm excited to play the second one for game nights and stuff like that. But
we know it's a live service game.
it's a multiplayer game, it's co-op, why wouldn't it be?
I know the first one's not right.
uh
Well, I don't know. I'm not like
no,
I don't.
the first one was not, but I mean, like,
That seems like a big like
yeah, I
step up.
mean, it's really their only multiplayer project right now. Unless you're gonna consider, if you consider Destiny that, but I mean, like, Destiny's still multi-platform, so.
And that is
Like,
definitely game as service.
yeah,
Yes.
but I can definitely see Helldivers 2 getting frequent updates and new maps and new whatever.
Hells.
It's a perfect game for it. Whether or not it succeeds, I don't know, because Helldivers 1 sold okay. It didn't sell incredible, and Sony's multiplayer games tend to struggle a lot. And they also don't have Game Pass, where this is a game that, like, needs Game Pass to survive these days, because not only does Game Pass is great for games like these, because four people don't have to buy it. For
Mhm.
this game to work, you need four. I mean, you can work with one or two people, but it's meant to be played 4 players. Every trailer has 4 players, so now you have to assume that all 4 people are going to buy the game, and that's a big investment to ask.
Yeah,
So
in a sea of other games like it that are either on Game Pass or are fully free,
yeah,
like that, like it's a rough place to be in. It does look cool though.
so
I'll give it that.
yeah. So I'm curious. My out of the blue prediction here would be, if the pre-orders are as low as I think they are for that game, because I really don't see anybody talking about it, it becomes a PS Plus day one launch game right before it comes out.
I mean, that just wouldn't surprise me. I absolutely, because that comes out in just a little over a month, February
Yeah.
8th. So
Yeah.
it feels like an easy thing to do when they announce their February lineup. Is like, also, this is coming free for PlayStation Plus.
And that's why I think it'll be a service project too, because how else are they going to make money at that point besides customizations and season passes or whatever the hell it's going to be?
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got Concord, that new game from Firewalk Studios, which is a service project. You have Fair Games from Haven Studios, that other service project. We really don't know what Concord is, aside from being like a sci-fi FPS. And then Fair Games is their extraction shooter, which looks very similar to the ill-fated Hyenas in its concept trailer. We still don't know what it is, but
I mean, there's also a very strong chance some of these games don't come out. Given, at the end of the year, they officially announced that they were shelving the Last of Us factions. So if Naughty Dog and the Last of Us IP wasn't up to snuff, or wasn't something that they thought was worth having a live service game, I'm curious, like, what are the chances these other ones survive? And yeah, there's a difference, because it really does feel like if you're going to do a live service game, your studio has to be a live service studio.
Yeah,
It doesn't feel like you can have one foot in one water and one foot in the other. It feels
well, that's
like
exactly what Naughty Dog said too. It's like, we couldn't do both. So to me, it seems like that was more of like a Naughty Dog decision. Like, there's no way for us to make these two, because they're working on 2 games, they said, plus that live service project. So unless they built a whole live service studio to function that game, there was no way to do all 3 things. But yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, like, the finals has done exceptionally well. I think they had 10 million players already. So the extraction shooters are the rage right now. So maybe Fair Games comes out and surprises us all. I don't know. The trailer didn't do anything to put that confidence in me, because, like, at least the finals, like, aesthetically, I don't love the characters or anything, but, like, the destruction and the gameplay are really good. And Fair Games didn't give me any of that in that trailer.
They had the easy sell of, it looks really cool in action, and it's from former Battlefield devs, which not all games have that kind of sell, which makes things
Well, Haven's big sell is it's Jade Raymond's studio, but she's known for single player games. So when you come out and announce a extraction shooter, you're like, huh?
I mean, you also Jade Raymond and like folks like Jade Raymond, folks like Amy Hennig, folks like Dennis Dyack were names that mean a lot to people of another generation. Like
Yeah,
in a world that is, what have you done for me lately? You don't have a lot of resume to show, and like that's just like the fact of the matter is like it's got to be like something very recent, and none of those folks have something recent to their name
Well,
that they're able to show.
that's the unfortunate part for Jade Raymond is like what the last 3 of her projects have been canceled
Yeah.
because she was at Motive 1st, and then 2 projects got canceled under her there, and then now this. So I guess we'll see. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I multiplayer and PlayStation for me outside of like the big Call of Duty and FIFA and all that just have never taken off for them.
Yeah, nothing from inside their homegrown studios has ever like really made waves.
Mm-mm.
And
Despite being fun projects like Mag and Starhawk and Warhawk and Resistance and Killzone, like they all had relatively okay multiplayer, but yeah, never reached the popularity of Halo. Aside from Haze, that was the one that killed Halo, I thought.
It was
sure.
the classic Halo killer. Yeah. Paramount Plus Haze.
And we're
coming
still
soon.
playing it today. Remember Haze
Yeah.
4? Man, what a banger.
Exactly. Yeah, but Sony, like we mentioned a little while ago, Sony it was fortunate that they have aligned themselves with kind of second party games with third parties, studios that they don't own, but they are publishing the games, and that's where you see, or they have timed exclusivity, like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, one of the biggest games of the probably first 6 months of the year, that is coming straight to PS5. It'll probably come to PC in a year. Who knows if it ever comes to Xbox, because 7 Remake still doesn't come to Xbox. We know Rise of the Ronin, the new game from the Neo team, which looks really cool. It looks like kind of like a open, it's like Assassin's Creed with those Neo Souls-like sensibilities in like an open world feudal Japan. Looks very cool. That's coming out in the spring, and then Death Stranding 2. It feels like that's a this year game, maybe a this fall game. Death Stranding 1 was 2019. That was 5 years ago. Seems like that could be ready this year. It feels like that game is further along than OD, because OD we also don't know what that is.
It's just a
That's
weird
probably
trailer.
just a movie.
He keeps teaming up with his homies. Oh my god, I'm excited who else he brings up. I think he's gonna team up Ari Aster, the director of Hereditary and Midsommar. He was in Japan recently. They've become buddies. He's going to be doing that. I get John Carpenter. John Carpenter just smokes weed and plays games all day.
John Carpenter's making the Left 4 Dead looking game.
Yeah, don't
Focus.
do. We don't need that one. Just
Toxic
make
Commando.
make your Kojima thing. Everything's fine. But yeah, I mean, to me, like even when I think of Sony this year, the thing I'm thinking of is Final Fantasy. Which I know isn't Sony, but that's probably my number one game of the year that I'm looking forward to. And I have a feeling this is gonna be a banger. It's gonna be a banger rank. They're gonna do it. Please.
I mean, the last one was well liked, right? So
yeah,
last one, yeah, the last one was very good, and this is like them, like the last one was the table setting, and this is them finally sort of showing, here's the open world, here's all the places that you remember from Final Fantasy, and then going all the way up to blank blank, getting blanked in blank blank by blank.
I'm excited for this one because I did, much like Yahtzee, I did not really care for Final Fantasy 16. I liked it, didn't love it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely don't disagree with it being on his bland list, even though it's fun.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it was bland, but it's a game that hasn't like stuck with me.
But it's not bland.
No, I think those are different things.
A forgettable game, then.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, especially as I've gone back and played a bunch of different Final Fantasies, like older Final Fantasies. I feel like they've they had those sort of elements that really like burrowed into you. And I think Final Fantasy 16 with an editor could have gotten there if that game was trimmed down. I know I say this about every game, but if that game was just like a lean 15, holy moly. Could you imagine?
I think that's the biggest problem with 16 is that it should have been, I should have just fully committed, like, hey, we're going to make a character action game.
Yeah.
Give it 15, max 20 hours, and just hack and slashing stuff, and rip out all this slow paced RPG nonsense that is more suited to the turn-based kind of gameplay and storytelling. They
Yeah.
wanted both, and both suffered as a result.
Yep. Yeah, I completely agree. Is there one sort of pie in the sky thing you'd like to see from Sony this year? Something we don't quite know about, but maybe something you'd like to see. Like I'd like to see Ghost of Tsushima 2. Let's see what Sucker Punch is working on. That first game sold very well, so I have to imagine that's what their next project is. I think that's a cool world to go back to, and I think again, if you see a lot of games how they're one like the sequels take a hot beat and turn it into a hot song, I would love to see that with Tsushima.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm in a weird place with Sony, like where I love the cinematic action adventure games, but like even after Spider-Man 2, like I could just feel like the I don't know, the production line effect kind of thing where I get from Ubisoft games where like I'm playing
Yeah,
the
there's a
same
formula.
game.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy the story, but the gameplay is starting to not exactly excite me anymore. Like say what you will about like The Last of Us, at least like when I feel like I went from like The Last of Us 1 to part 2, like the AI, just the AI in that game and how they react to you was like enough of an innovation for me. And playing it like on a harder difficulty without all the extra, see through the walls stuff and everything. That game felt to me more like an innovation than anything else that Sony's put out. I kind of want them to get back to like being really creative again with their games. Like I miss Infamous. I miss like having the Killzone, like that kind of stuff, and Warhawk and Starhawk and Sly Cooper and all these. I don't need a character action or a character platformer game ever again, but I just want to see. Like when Horizon came out, I was super excited for that, and I really liked Horizon 1 for the most part. And I think we've talked multiple times about Horizon Forbidden West kind of just was a little bit forgettable because it didn't have like the story chops of their other games. But I don't know. I just kind of want to see something different from them. And when I think different, I guess I do think Death Stranding, even though that's not the sequels. I don't know what this. I have no idea what this sequel is going to be. But yeah, I really don't know. I really don't know what Sony looks like going forward, especially with all their live service shenanigans and what exactly Sony wants to be.
For me, like Sony is a people pleaser in that like they'll probably continue to do exactly the thing that you're bored of, but be super successful. Like people, like the general public is not going to care that the next cinematic action whatever is like the last one. They'll just eat it up for the most part, and Sony will be fine because of that, because they do that very well. But they do still have like a couple of like just weird weird studios under their belt who just kind of get to do what they want because they fly slightly under the radar, like Housemarque, for example.
Yeah, Returnal is something I consider very different from Sony, and I loved.
I've still not played it. I mean to, but I feel like Housemarque is kind of weirdly free to just do something else. Like I don't think a Returnal 2 has been mandated on them, and if they don't feel like doing a second one, we might just see something brand new and really cool from them. So like that's something I'm kind of just on the lookout for. Like what else is Housemarque maybe looking at in the future? They have a couple other studios like that too.
Yeah, I want to see Sony go back to exploring different genres too. Like even if it's a first person RPG again. Like I just want to see that. Like I think I'm kind of a bit like I'm trying not to piss off the Sony fans. What I'm saying is like I enjoy their games, but I want to see Sony's take on Starfield or something like that, right? Where it's like these big innovative, not calling Starfield innovative before anybody yells at me, but just their take on a Skyrim or a Starfield or their take on Avowed or Outer Wilds or Outer, stuff like that.
Man, it was funny earlier when you said I miss like creative Sony. I was like yes, and then you named a bunch of games. And I was like, oh, those aren't the ones I miss. I miss. The problem is Zoe with the $2
They killed
donation.
other Japanese studios.
That's the thing is I miss Japan Studio. Japan Studio was that bastion of weird. That's where we got Gravity Rush. That's where we got Tokyo Jungle. That's where we got Shadow and Eco. That's where we got Patapon, Loco Roco, like Puppeteer, Rain. Like they were doing weird shit then, and it was weird shit that was at a smaller scale, but it gave Sony like a real identity and a real texture to them that wasn't just Uncharted and The Last of Us and God of War, which are great, in which they shouldn't stop doing. But it gave them a depth that I mean, I'm going to sound like a broken record, and we're going to get there soon, but Nintendo has, where Nintendo feels like they have tiers of games they make. No pun intended. With
that's where
Tears of the Kingdom.
Microsoft has gotten back to, weirdly enough. Is like,
Yeah,
you know, you have your hi-fi rushes. Like one of the games that everybody seems to be talking about. Maybe it's just on Twitter or not, but like people that have played it at events have really had fun with it. Is that Towerborn from Stoic Studio? Seems like that might be like the next big kind of Castle Crashers type game. Like
Yeah.
Microsoft has a lot of variety right now, which is why I'm personally like very excited for their lineup specifically, because like I'm getting my first person RPGs from them, I'm getting my action platformers, I'm getting my Hellblade 2 jumped up from being a game I didn't know much about or care about that much to that most recent trailer. I think I've gone back to watch 3 or 4 times, and now I'm like way more interested in it, and I really want to play it.
Really? Because
Yeah.
I feel like the full opposite. Like I was like waiting, oh, what is next coming from Ninja Theory? And every time they showed Hellblade, I'm getting less and less interested because it seems like they're not showing me anything. Like, what in the most recent trailer did you see that was like, that's the gameplay I want?
I've gone back to watch the gameplay trailer we got at the TGAs a few times now, and it seems like it's got like an actual dueling system in it. And if people have like analyzed the trailers, like it's not just a hack and slash combat system, but more of like something closer to like For Honor.
Well, it was always like that. Yeah. It was like a very
the first game was very simplistic.
Yeah, it was. And that's what I was hoping they'd like build upon.
Yeah.
But from the trailer, like it cuts so fast that like all I ever remember seeing is like a sword hit and then it's on to something else. Like I'm not seeing actual fights with the character, and that's what makes me worried.
Yeah, maybe go back and watch it a few more times. I think you'll see more of those details in there.
Okay.
But yeah, it's I don't know. It's one of those games like I'm not a Yahtzee where like I don't think these games should ever exist kind of thing. Like if it's a good story, well told, I'm fine with that game existing. But the point is, you know, Xbox just has a ton of variety right now with, you know, stuff like Hi-Fi Rush and other unannounced things that haven't even talked about yet. Like not technical, it's announced, but it's hardly announced. It's like Contraband, right? It's supposed to be some Mad Max-esque style extraction game with vehicles, which sounds interesting to me. So there's a lot more going on there that we know about, and Sony seems to be floundering a little bit and trying to figure out how do we break into this live service market.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Microsoft, because I feel like I agree with both of you when it comes to Hellblade. I'm excited for Hellblade not because of anything they've shown. I'm excited for Hellblade because I loved Hellblade 1, and I just feel like a prettier Hellblade 2 sounds great to me. I just think it's been poorly shown, which could be worrisome. Like maybe that's a sign that things aren't going great. But I just think maybe it's a tough game to sell, because Hellblade wasn't a game I was looking forward to until it came out, and then I played it and I was like, oh shit, this game's great. So yeah, it's very possible.
That's a good point.
What's wrong with you, Nick? What are you mumbling, Nick? I think Nick might be dead. Whatever.
Oh, well, yeah, I don't think
that's the piece of boy Nick. Yeah, but so aside from Hellblade 2, which we think is this year, you know, Microsoft doesn't have a lot of games dated for 2024. Which, if we go back to last year, like at this point, all we knew was Starfield, and suddenly a Hi-Fi Rush appeared out of thin air just a little over a year ago. So do you think there's a chance Microsoft does that again? Do you think they were like, that was a good idea, we should do another stealth drop?
I just saw a rumor going around that Double Fine had a project that they're looking to shadow drop,
like a smaller game.
Yeah, a smaller game.
Yeah,
I mean, Microsoft definitely has enough studios under their belt.
I should fucking hope so.
Yeah, like that something could pop up that maybe like internally they're like, oh, this is actually really cool. Yeah, let's spotlight this as a shadow drop thing.
Yeah.
Double as much as we all love Double Fine, that's not the studio I would want a shadow drop game from, to be honest.
You don't even know what the game's though.
Yeah, but like I know the kind of stuff they've made, and it's never like the thing that I'm chomping at the bits to get.
But that Sesame Street Connect game.
What?
That Sesame Street Connect game?
Is that a Double Fine joint?
Yeah, it's called Sesame Street Connect, or maybe it was the Muppets. It was one of those Jim Henson weird little gremlins.
again, like it's something that I'll be like, oh, that's cool, but like it's not gonna be like
Yeah, I
I
don't know.
need to play this.
I wasn't a big Double Fine guy until I played Psychonauts 2, and then I was like, okay, I want more of whatever this is.
Yeah, Psychonauts 2 rules. Yeah, and then we know, again, not first party, but Microsoft's been aligned with Stalker 2, which
Mm,
feels like it's this year after the a very understandable delays. What that game is still remains to be seen. I think that was definitely one of those games that, not like the day before, but one of those games that when it first showed it off, we were like, that's not what that game's going to look like. And then as they
yeah,
started to show it off more, it's like, okay, yeah, that's what that game looks like. It's fine. You just should have been like that from the start. And so we got that coming soon, and then I guess on the entertainment front we have Fallout, which is weird because that is a Fallout, the Amazon show premiering
right,
in
right,
April,
right.
which it is weird still to be like, oh yeah, that is a Microsoft thing now. So that first trailer looked really cool. So in
I
lieu
liked
of
it. Yeah,
Last of Us Season 2 this year, it seems like Fallout could be one of those things. It could be that thing that, like, I don't know. It was a good trailer. It's got the lesser Nolan behind it. That's a
Previews
mean
were
way to
that's
describe someone.
yeah, that's so
when
rude.
Super rude. God. I don't know. I was like, I'm sorry, Darren. That's the person I'm going to apologize to. But it's not like you tell me, Darren, what you
I
did.
I feel like Fallout has a pass on this though, because you can tell any original story in that world and not have to adapt it to something directly.
I gotta make it good though, right? Like,
Well, yeah, but it's just easier than trying to you either directly adapt The Last of Us or you do something different with it and piss everybody off. Or Fallout kind of has
oh
that
yeah. They don't
yeah
have those
Mhm.
expectations that people
yeah
have.
like as long as the world aesthetically looks like Fallout and the story is good, I think you have a fine like it's gonna be hard to fuck that show up too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fallout was
Uh,
already about random ass stories in the world, right? So like you could super easily serialize something like this.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
it's just I think it's just really just using the universe of Fallout as the backdrop for whatever
Right.
show Jonathan Nolan's making.
And cool dog. Got great dog.
Yeah, but
Well done, dog.
After Starfield's story, any story might be better.
And damn. And damn.
I'm not a Starfield hater. I didn't like the story. I didn't care about the story one bit. Like the weird review bashing on Starfield is, I think, ridiculous, and people giving it air like me right now probably just adding fuel to that fire. But I mean, I don't know. Skyrim has survived for over a decade off of mods. Starfield will do the same thing, I'm sure, and beside all the modders being angry at it, I guess. But they don't even have the tools yet, and I'm sure Bethesda will give them nice tools to use, and they'll be fine.
Is it a hot take to say Bethesda only makes boring games I don't care about?
No, I don't think so.
No, I mean
I think
that's
their games are for
how
a
you
very
feel.
specific taste of people.
Man, Skyrim, that taste of people is like everyone with Skyrim, right?
Yeah, but it was fantasy with actual world to explore, and Starfield's world are very boring.
It's
I'm
like
not gonna
their
disagree with
formula
any of
works on me exactly one time.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I got into Fallout 3 super heavy, bounced off of New Vegas. Got into Skyrim super heavy, tried any other one after that, and was like, I guess not for me anymore. Like I'm done.
I
Yeah.
think I've just realized I only like Bethesda's fantasy games. Do not really care for Fallout, and I don't. Starfield is not one of my favorite games.
Yeah. I know. To me, they're like black licorice, where it's just the taste where I'm like, nah. Or like cilantro. We were talking about that earlier about cilantro, how it's like there's a certain like 10% of people it just tastes like soap.
Mm,
And to me, I'm just like, nah.
They
I don't know why.
really just need to let Bethesda create the worlds and let
Mhm.
Obsidian come in and write the stories for them.
well, is
Speaking
it?
of,
Oh, I'm sorry.
oh, go ahead. No,
No,
go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, like, is it the story? Because like, it's the gameplay loops that are the problem, right? Like,
I don't I like in
like
Skyrim
the
I
little
know
plot threads, like those are generally good, but it's like the games are the ones that the gameplay feels like outdated and backward, like missing maps, like uh mm, bad weapon cycle, like just dumb basic stuff like that is like what I feel like they're just not focusing on.
I don't know, I didn't have a problem with Starfield's gameplay.
Oh, I hated it.
I hate it.
I
Uh,
hated it.
yeah, you mentioned Obsidian. Avowed seems like a game that we could be seeing this year, which is, Obsidian's Skyrim, I guess. I don't know. Like,
It's not their Skyrim. They said it's like their fantasy Outer Worlds.
oh yeah. So I guess
It's a much
yeah,
smaller in scope game. Which
yeah.
I really don't. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of the Outer Worlds. I know a lot of people love that game. Supposedly, I didn't really care for it that much. So I'm iffy on Avowed, even though like I really like. I like it. Well, I can't say I love Pillars of Eternity because I can't ever push myself to finish it or play through it all the way. But I really
Amy
like
has entered the chat.
I like the lore of Pillars of Eternity. No, that's Path of Exile.
Get the fuck out of here. Those are different.
Yeah,
You got a couple of POEs. Cut it
It's
up over there.
POE
Very
and then it's
different.
POE.
I'm gonna be honest. I fucking thought they were the same thing. I learned something in 2024. I 100% those two fuckers were the same thing. Incredible. What game is Amy like?
Path of Exile.
What's Pillars of
and the-
Eternity?
Pillars of
the-
Eternity is a very old school CRPG that they made.
Yeah, CRPG like old Fallout.
You
Path
talking
of
about
Exile
Jeff
is like
Epstein, the financier? No, not Jeff. But, that threw me for a loop. I don't even know how to recover from that.
I could literally see the gears turning outside your head.
I always thought they were the same. Microsoft has also announced a lot of games over the past few years. We most recently saw Blade from Arcane. I assume that's not coming out for a very long
Like
time.
2027, they said.
There you go. That sounds great.
Wait, is that true?
Yeah,
They didn't say
that's what they
27?
2025, 2026.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Deathloop
2027.
team, and Deathloop came out 2 years ago, and games take fucking a decade to make now. So,
I think they just
but
wanted the heat off of Redfall.
yeah, it worked. It was cool.
It worked. Yeah.
They we've seen, Nick, you mentioned Contraband, we've seen Fable, we've seen Perfect Dark.
So excited.
Mike,
for Fable.
you have to assume Coalition's working on something in the Gears universe. Halo might still be a thing.
They said they're working on the next thing. Whatever. I think Halo's gonna be exactly what I predicted way back at Escapist. Was Infinite will remain the multiplayer platform going forward, and single player Halo will be whatever that ends up being. I don't know why you put all this effort into Infinite if you're just gonna drop it in 2 years. So, and people are loving Infinite now. So, whatever you do with Halo, like it needs a $40 single player campaign. Be done with it.
I mean, the campaign in Infinite was good. Like it was actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. I don't disagree with that. I just wanted more level variety. Wanted more variety in the world is really all I needed. I liked the story of it. I liked where it was going. I wanted more of it, and they said nope. We're gonna. But I feel like all the changes they made have been for the better. Where they seem to have figured out like the leadership team was the problem, swapped all them out. Multiplayer is back on track. People are really enjoying the multiplayer. Forge is exploding. So I think they've got the foundation set for the future. Finally, I feel like they're finally there, and they're being able to focus on content again and not fixing everything. Especially if you have not tried the new netcode test server, which gets rid of all the desync issues they've had since launch. It plays fucking great now. Like every shot,
you sound like Charlie Brown every time he gets ready to kick that football.
I've been playing a lot. I've been playing a lot of it. I've been having a good time.
You just wait till they take the football away. You end up in your ass, a pile of leaves.
RJ Marsh reminds me like the story was in the audio logs. Yes, I hated that too, but I liked the direction where the end of the campaign went. And then they're like, "Yeah, you won't ever get to see more of this ring." It's like, well, okay.
Casey, what game comes first? Fable, New Gears, or Perfect Dark?
You mean like which game will Microsoft get out of the door first, or like my personal?
Yeah, what will you pay first? I know which one you want. We all know which one you want.
Gears seems like the safest bet in terms of like what they can get out of the door. Like that's been just a tried and true thing for them. But after that, it's a little hazy. Like I feel like there's so much time has passed since they've done the restructuring for Perfect Dark and their team that we might get something. But I'm way less excited for what we'll get when we see that as I was at the start, because it seems like their grand idea for a quadruple A studio was just bad. Like they just put a ton of talented people together, and there was just no synergy between them. So they were like, all right, well, let's just get a not as talented group of people together. So I apologize. I apologize for the connotation, but if we're looking at what was designed, let's get a less talented group of people who do know how to work together with whatever the main guy was, and to get them to do it. That's just less appealing in terms of what I wanted from like a new Perfect Dark. So I don't know, but we'll probably get Perfect Dark next, and then Fable will bring up the rear. And I have no expectations of Fable. Like it's turn 10, right? So like a
Playground.
studio
No,
Playground. Sorry, Playground.
Yeah.
So a studio that has never made a game like this before, but the stuff that have made has been very good. So it's just I'm not sure how to base what this might be. But I only ever liked Fable 2. Like Fable 3 was a bad game. So like I have no strong feelings one way or the other for Fable. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be curious because Microsoft's also, they now own Activision Blizzard, so they're gonna get a big bump when they inevitably release their Xbox blog and say, "Hey, all these games are gonna be on Game Pass, and it's fucking 30 Call of Duty games, and it's Diablo 4, and it's some Candy Crush."
put them on Game Pass.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, those are all going to be folded in, just like all the Bethesda studios got folded in. We'll see. I imagine maybe at some point this year we see what the Indiana Jones game from Machine Games is. Maybe we see what id's working on. There's a lot of studios, a lot of games. They do need to start hitting that cadence that they've been talking about for the last couple of years that they still haven't. Like at a certain point, it's like, why aren't you hitting? Like, you have so many studios, something is wrong. And with those leaked memos or accidental, whatever you want to call them, with the court documents that got leaked, it was clear that they are aware of the fact that they're like, what's going on here? Like, why? At a certain point, you have no excuse.
I think they are at the point where they will start hitting that one AAA game a quarter that they want to do. Yeah, I do think Hellblade's closer than we think it is. Like I think we might see that by April.
Well, they better get.
And I think we're gonna see that by April, and I think we're gonna see Towerborn in maybe as a shadow job in January, but I could see that in March. I could see Hellblade 2 in March too, because I think March isn't super packed yet.
They should get started on this weekend. I'm like nervous for them in this hypothetical situation.
Well, I feel like, I mean, Microsoft with Game Pass just doesn't need a ton of marketing cycle around their games anymore.
Yeah,
like we just have, there hasn't been, aside from Starfield, they just haven't done a huge marketing push for really any of their games.
They haven't had a huge game.
Yeah, like what other than Starfield? What would they have given that sort of
Forza,
energy?
I mean, they had Forza, but I know you guys don't care about Forza. But
yes, Forza's still niche. Like as good as it is, and like as well regarded as it is, like it's still niche. It's a racing sports thing.
Yeah, no, they haven't. I don't think they've had that big award-winning game to push yet.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
Everything will be fine with OD. Everything will be perfectly fine.
But before we jump off of Microsoft, I just want to say there is something in the water in that Microsoft will get third-party help. Like, for example, this Kojima OD thing, right? They'll get third-party help from someone, and like they'll play around with Microsoft's money, do something kind of experimental, kind of interesting, but like ultimately kind of a test bed, and then they'll go off to wild success as soon as they're out of Microsoft's shadow. Sunset Overdrive, Remedy.
Yeah, that's I mean, there's a world where Alan Wake 2 was an exclusive, was an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, Xbox
like
Xbox
that, and
really
Control.
Screw the pooch on Insomniac and Remedy. They could have had.
This keeps happening.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like this Kojima game, based on that track record, it's gonna be just some weird BS that people forget about, and then he'll do Death Drive. And then that'll be the best thing that's ever.
Well done, Kojima. Well done. Very impressed.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
I think the thing to remember about Microsoft is just like with Sony, they're chasing a very specific audience that enjoys their single player games, where Microsoft goes for a very broad appeal audience. And it's easy to forget, like games like Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2 and Halo and everything, Forza, most of those games have 10 million plus players. So I mean,
Yeah,
there's
that is
still
kind of wild to think about.
yeah, their games are actually doing very good. The games that they have continued to support, like it always blows my mind at how many players are actually still playing State of Decay 2, and then you go look at all the updates they've given, and like when State of Decay 3 comes out, like that's going to be a big hit for Microsoft if they do it right.
How many of those players do you think moved on to the day before?
Negative 100.
Oh no, not negative 100.
They refunded it before they even bought it.
There you go. Before we move on to Nintendo, a couple super chats. Pattern Pike, $2 dono. Thank you so much. HNY to you too. HBD 2023. KC and Marty, are you planning to finish Devil May Cry? Pattern Pike, where have you been?
Yeah.
Well, it was actually, we haven't played for like 2 weeks because it was the holiday.
Yeah.
But yes, we are back to our regular Thursday 7 p.m. Central time slot for Devil May Cry. We are jamming our way through Devil May Cry 2. We are going to be doing our third session tomorrow. Is that right? Something.
Sure.
Yeah, it's your third session.
That game sucks, but it's slow. But it's short. Sorry, not slow. It is slow, but
yeah, that game sucks. Yeah, DMC2 can just suck it.
But afterwards, Devil May Cry 3.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one.
And 4 is very good too, I heard.
Also heard that.
Like 4. I think people like 5, right?
I've not heard bad things about 4. I've
never
not heard
bad things
a single bad thing
about
4.
4 is the one I knew everybody liked. I didn't remember everybody liked 3.
No, 3. I thought 3 and 5. I thought they were the odd boys. But we're going to find out for ourselves. And then Some Person with a $4.99 dono. Thank you so much, Some Person. Happy New Year, nerds. Trio of emojis. Incredibly rude. Thank you so much, some person. And then Kyokyo Disaster with a $10 dono. Thank you so much. Remember, all of your donations for the foreseeable future on all of our streams are going towards that funding goal of Adventures Nice Season 4 on location very soon. Way too soon. Oh my God, we need to prepare. Question: of the new games ready to be released this year, or at least set up for this year, what games do you think will disappoint, succeed, or even become Game of the Year? Sorry about the day before, Nick. It sucked.
You don't have to be sorry to me. I said it was going to suck for
Nick.
years.
Sorry, Nick.
It's okay, Nick. We know how excited you were.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, are we gonna? Do we want to just put a line in the sand right now? What's GOTY? What's 2024?
What's Game of the Year for 2024?
What's Game of the Year?
Hollow Knight Silk Song. Boom.
Okay. Nick, what's GOTY this year?
I gotta look at the list.
Oh, you gotta go with your heart.
I have to remember everything that's coming out because there's a lot of stuff. I'm gonna go on a little bit of a weird one here, and I'm gonna say Final Fantasy Rebirth.
I think it's possible. I'm going with Metaphor ReFantazio. The Persona boys have done it again. Listen, the Persona boys getting out of their high school. Can you imagine? Can you absolutely imagine? We'll be talking about those games soon, but first, Nintendo. You guys remember Nintendo?
Yes. Yeah.
And all the remakes and remasters.
Nick, I fucking saved it.
What'd you do?
I have receipts on you.
Why?
Well, but first off, Nintendo.
What I do?
God, I wish I would have had this fucking queued.
I'm worried now.
I wish I would have had this queued. Oh, I fucked up.
What's the receipt?
I can't even ask you to
I don't want to get canceled.
I can't even ask you to stall for time because I'm the one who did this. Oh my God, it sucks.
Chat's gonna want to know too, so you gotta find whatever.
Yeah, like you threw this into
you know what? You pulled this on me earlier. No,
I'm looking for it. I'm gonna tell everyone. But before we do that, Nintendo has a
soundbite goes.
Nintendo. No, there was right around at some point during Christmas break, they announced something, and you tweeted, "Just make a remaster of this." And it was about something about how excited you were. Do you remember what it was?
No.
It was like a first-party Sony.
Oh, God
thing.
of War.
Oh, God of War. You were like, "Oh yeah, Sony just remastered God of War 1, 2, and 3. That's all we want."
I can't play them any other way.
So the last remaster
can't play them
was
any
on
other
PS3.
way. Oh, and so Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door, you could easily play that, right? Because you carry around your fucking GameCube by its handle all the time.
Emulation, dog.
You can emulate God of War games.
No, you can't because the PS3 is notoriously hard to emulate. You need super powerful hardware to do it. Get bent.
Nick, you have a Nintendo bias. You have a Nintendo
I
bias. You have a Nintendo
I
blind spot, and you have a Nintendo
I was
bias.
playing Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom most of my break, so you can take your bias and shove it.
How good is it? But yeah, Nintendo has a
Eric,
handful of
get that
games
off
announced for
screen.
the
Yeah,
first
Eric, chill.
What are you doing?
for the first quarter. Eric's going hog wild. Eric's going nuts. First quarter of the year, we have
Jeez.
the Trace Memory collection, a remaster remake of old DS games. So these are smaller things. Princess Peach Showtime, which I'm actually really excited for because it looks like it's weird Nintendo, which I love. Mario vs. DK, again, small. It's a little remake. I know Nick doesn't like those. And then Thousand Year Door, Luigi's Mansion 2. Those games, all these games are fine. All these games are fine.
I want to play the Thousand Year Door remake, so
Certain remakes are fine, and the other ones
I
aren't.
bought the Super Mario RPG remake too.
Did you play it?
No.
All he had to do was buy it. Job done.
Yeah.
Job done.
Nintendo happy.
I'm getting there.
But I mean, this year is just about the hardware, right? This year has to be about the new console. It has to,
Yeah,
right?
did you see the speculation?
Yes.
Like some venture capitalist analyst, something like that, was like, "Oh, it's the next console is probably just going to be an iteration rather than like a brand new whatever."
Good.
Like,
Good.
I mean, but isn't this always the trap? Like, people predict the thing that makes sense, and then Nintendo goes away with the like they just do whatever the hell they want. It's never the thing you think makes sense.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Wii U biggest issue was that it did not have third party support.
No.
Really by
No.
anybody.
That was
The
not
Wii
a big
U's
issue.
the Wii U's big issue is its game sucked and no one bought it.
Well, that too, but it also didn't have third party support.
The Wii U was the rare double down on the last idea, which is something Nintendo never does. But that's how wildly successful the Wii was. Which again, I stand by. The Wii was a fluke. The Wii was an absolute fluke. Nintendo did not plan
I don't remember
that.
very many good games on the Wii either.
Exactly. They doubled down on the success of just that, and that's how you got the Wii U, which basically laid bare how terrible the first one was.
Yeah.
So but if you double down on the Switch, though, it's like only making it. I am worried about like what a gimmick looks like for the Switch.
Don't do a gimmick. Don't do a gimmick. Just make it more powerful.
Yeah,
that's all you need to do.
Yeah, I think, and I do think that's what they're gonna do. I don't think there's like the Switch is sold and continues to sell so well. It'd be stupid to not just continue that. And with the way they set up the shop and all the digital purchases now, because the Wii and the Wii U were not digital age yet for games. Like now you need a system that can just transfer over all your indie games. Nintendo knows their platform is the indie platform primarily over anything else. I cannot see them. It's we always say can't see them doing something, but it's Nintendo. But I do think Nintendo has learned their lesson hardcore from the Wii U of like.
I mean,
let's
that's
just
where
stick.
that's where I disagree. Nintendo has never learned their lesson.
I can't. What gimmick would they go with now though? Because like the gimmick with the Wii's was the touch stuff and the motion controls. And now you have the Switch, which is like a perfect piece of hardware.
Where it's both. Like, oh, it's a home console and it's a handheld console. With the handhelds, they have iterated.
Your Joy-Cons have motion.
Yeah,
it's all in one. Like they're gonna add a second screen to it. That's what they're gonna do. Go back to DS.
Yeah, they did that already. Yeah.
No, I see it being the same but more. In that the jump to Super Nintendo, same but more. The jump to the Game Boy Advance, same but more. The jump to the 3DS, same but more. I think it is that because they are coming off a home run, and
because they never really fucked up with their handhelds.
Yeah, the handhelds are a lot more linear in that way. So like, yeah, if they're treating this like handheld success, then there's a stronger argument for that sort of thing. But I don't know. Nintendo is such a wild card. Like
yeah, they really are. And there's some things we can predict that they're working on the next core 3D Mario game, which the Mario Wonder team was not the team that did Mario Odyssey and Bowser's Fury. And Mario Odyssey came out in 2017, the year that the Wii or the Switch launched. So there's a very good chance we see whatever that is. it feels like it is time to do something new with Mario Kart. It has been 10 years since Mario Kart 8, and yes, Mario Kart 8 is just it's sold better than literally every video game we've mentioned today. It is a behemoth
Why
that is bigger
why
than.
wouldn't they just keep Mario Kart 8 and just up the frame rate of it on the new one? If they just release more tracks for it?
They were
Yeah, I
officially
think the
done releasing
final,
Yeah,
set
their
of tracks.
final done with it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't.
but at a certain
I
point,
say
like-
that. I say that. But if you can just resell everybody on all those tracks again, like Marty, then why not?
Weren't you talking about Skyrim just a little while ago?
I haven't rebought it 10 times.
Nick, you just said you were going to buy The Last of Us 2 remastered just so you don't have to move your PlayStation. Oh, but then we found out it wasn't on PC, so you can't do it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I bought part 1 remastered. So
Oh,
that it was easier
that
to
was
stream
it.
for work.
No, because you didn't want to move your place. Fucking everyone, cancel your Patreons. We don't deserve it. We don't deserve it. And then aside from the 3D Mario game, we have Metro Prime 4, which it's been fucking somewhere. Somewhere.
To this day, we've not seen anything more than that title screen, right?
Yeah, what a title screen it was, though. What an absolute title screen.
There it is.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that a decade ago.
Yeah, you gotta keep looping it. That 4 gotta keep looping. And then Retro might also be working on something else because we don't know who's developing that game anymore. So I've been replaying. So I bought a. Don't tell Nintendo. I bought a hacked 3DS that's just got every game on it ever. Every handheld game on it ever. Been replaying Donkey Kong Country Returns, the 3DS port. Delightful. What a delightful game.
Nice.
Retro, really good at making games. Maybe they should keep doing that. What if we made another one?
What was the last retro
Tropical
game? Was
Freeze.
it the Tropical? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Freeze.
you mean
you know what that was game? That was for the
Wii U game. That's still
was for the
fucking $40. Fuck you, Nintendo. I hate you so much.
That was a while ago, actually.
What are you mad at, Nick? You got $100 fast pass.
Tropical Freeze
fast pass
is still $40 for a remaster. They're playing Call of Duty games.
What?
You can't even like Call of Duty 2 is still like $20 when it's not on sale.
That's weird.
Yeah, games are really old. It's a Bobby Pockets issue.
Not anymore.
Not
there
anymore.
Yeah. My big hope is this year is Earthbound's 30th anniversary, and they've been slowly rolling out a interview series with Miyamoto and Itoi, the creator of Earthbound, who's kind of just retired from. He's just fucking chilling now, which is great. Like what a way to live. My thought is that they got something brewing. Maybe they got something cooking. Well, Earthbound. Remember those? You know those Smash Bros. Characters, Casey. What if they come back?
I love them.
Yeah, what if they come back?
Like in their own games. Do you want that? I thought the reason like Nintendo couldn't do anything with them was because Itoi was like, no. Like he has some sort of like control over that IP in particular, and he just doesn't want to.
Yeah, I don't think they're it was that, and I think it was like Iwata was involved in them, and he almost said like, listen, Itoi has carte blanche. Like if Itoi doesn't want shit to happen, it doesn't happen.
Right.
Like but I think we're seeing a lot of artists as they get to their twilight years. They start thinking about their past, they start thinking about their legacy, they start thinking about what to leave their families. And I think at that point you start being like, maybe Miyazaki isn't retired. Maybe Hayao Miyazaki's coming out and he's got one more. And the message of that movie is my son shouldn't make art. I don't know. You guys have seen The Boy and the Heron.
No, I haven't.
It is, hey, you made that one movie and it was very bad. Please don't make movies anymore.
Oh boy.
That's my take on it. I think everyone else's take is different, but that was my take on The Boy and the Heron.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm hoping we get more Earthbound anything. Yeah, just release Mother 64. Do whatever you want. Just give me something. PK Fire.
I want new IP from Nintendo.
I just want F-Zero. A real one.
I want new IP. Something new.
How come you say that about Nintendo and you don't say that about other studios or other first parties?
Xbox has a ton of new IPs coming.
That's
Like
true.
what?
Yeah, to be fair. They
We
got
talked about
Avowed, they got the other one.
we talked about Fable, Gears, Halo, Hellblade, Perfect Dark, everything Activision, everything Bethesda. Like,
No, they do. You know what? They announced a bunch of stuff, but I think we already know some of that stuff has died on the vine. Like,
Hi-Fi
what was
Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush is new,
Rush
yes.
new.
But what was the other the Sea of Stars dev? Not Sea of
Messenger?
Stars, Sea of Thieves dev.
Oh, Everwild.
Everwild.
Everwild, yes.
It's not dead.
It's
They
not dead?
rebooted it. No, they rebooted it.
Into what? It never came out for it. It didn't boot. How do you reboot it?
They rebooted it. What the Jeff Grubbs rumor on it was going to be more like Viva Pinata. So you know what? I'm all behind that.
Did you dream this, Nick? I've
No.
not heard anything about this.
Google it?
You know what Viva Pinata isn't?
Google
A
it.
new IP, Nick. It never booted. I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah, Grounded is new.
Nick the OG, $2 dono. Thank you so much. Welcome back, gents. Hope you got some good rest. Thank you so much, Nick. Appreciate it. I didn't.
I'm regretting coming back.
Blue McD's nuts with a $5 dono. Thank you so much, Blue. Miyamoto J Jonah VR. Psh, RV mode. The Switch 2 is a race car now with smell-o-vision. You can brush your teeth with it and sleep in a game with. I have a 1% worry that they're going to do something crazy. 1% worry Nintendo's going to do something wild. 99% they're going to be fine. They'll be
Starfield was a new IP.
They'll be fine.
True. Starfield was a new IP, yeah.
I mean, I feel like I feel like you and I have very different definitions.
Redfall was a new IP.
Redfall was a new IP. Shit. No, let's stop naming new IPs. This hurts now.
I mean, I feel Pentiment was new is a good call because this probably isn't fair. If your game is just the same as all your old games but with a different genre coat of paint on it, to me it's not a new IP. Like that's just a Bethesda game, which is
that's IP a new IP light.
Yeah, diet new IP, 0 calorie new IP. King Commenter with a $5 dono. Thank you so much. I'll be happy if Nintendo can put out a system that can actually play their games at a decent frame rate. They could play their games at a decent frame rate. They just can't play everyone else's games. You know, game was great. Pikmin 4. No one's talking about Pikmin 4. Let me tell you.
Yeah, at all.
Oh yeah, I did start that. I never finished it.
Do you know what I realized? My favorite genre of games.
That game's too
my
long.
favorite genre of games. Little dude in a big world. Little. Dude
oh no, yeah, you said this
world.
before.
Yeah.
Little dude in a big world. Pikmin.
Top 3 Little Dude in a Big World games. Go.
Number 3, Pikmin 4. Number 2, Tinykin. Number 1, Chibi Robo for the GameCube, which I've been playing over break. And look who came in the mail today. It's him. It's Chibi Robo.
Oh, nice.
He is the cutest little dude, and he's just running around. And it turns out the house he's running around, you start learning, and I think the parents are getting divorced in the house, which I'm like, oh, this game isn't fun anymore. Like, it's a really colorful game, and it's like, oh, the dad's sleeping in the living room, and I'm like, why is the dad sleeping in the living room? And they're getting in a gnarly fight, and I think it's because they bought a Chibi Robo. Like, the parents are going to get divorced because of you, which is incredible.
You played all those Pikmin likes, but you haven't played Wild Heart? Or Wild at Hearts?
The Wild at Heart.
The Wild at Heart.
No, I played it. I absolutely played. I played it on Casey's recommendation on his review. I loved it. I thought it was great. Yeah, give me more of those games.
You weren't tiny though, so that
no, you threw little things.
Yeah, like you weren't a tiny guy in a big world.
Yeah. But yeah, it was great. Yeah, see, good blood. Shout out to Tinykin. Javid knows what's going on. Tinykin was great. And then Pattern Pike with a $2 dono. Thank you so much. Nintendo's new gimmick console runs Steam Deck OS. People keep saying like, "Oh, this is it. Valve's ruined Steam's Switch's life," and I'm like, just look at the sales. No, they haven't.
Yeah,
like the Steam Deck is great.
Fanboy.
I love my Steam Deck, but like,
they're
not even playing the same sport.
And like the Steam Deck people's argument is always like, well, I can emulate all of the Switch stuff or whatever. I was like, Crimes
can emulate all the Switch stuff.
Yeah, but like Crimes don't change the fact that it's outselling.
Yeah. You're doing Crimes. How can you be doing Crimes? Wait, Eric, is Hotel Transylvania 4 a Pikmin clone? Is that real?
What?
I don't know. Eric messaged me to say there was a Hotel Transylvania 4 game that's a Pikmin clone. And if that's the case, does that have Adam Sandler's voice? Does Adam Sandler in a Pikmin like? That sounds wonderful. I could absolutely get behind that. Sandman, Grown Ups, Uncut Gems,
I don't
Click.
know where to begin to form an opinion on any of that.
UB Halloween.
Start at Click.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Do you want to move on to third party?
Sure.
Speaking of Hotel Transylvania 4, probably developed by a third party. I gotta imagine it was a third party, right? There's a bunch of games, and I listed them all. We don't got to do them all, but I'm just curious. Of the ones I have on this list, what stands out to you guys? Are there any that you're jonesing for? Are there any developers,
The only
any
one
publishers
KC
that you're
cares
excited
about
for?
is Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Oh, I care about more than that, but I do care a lot about Hollow Knight Silk Song. That is true.
Yeah.
Do we like they said this year, right? The last time they told us anything, like that number showed up, or did I dream that?
I mean, why would you believe them?
Because
I don't know.
I don't know. After a certain amount, this is like the sunken cost fallacy of hype, right? Like it's been so long, it has to come out eventually, right? So if they say 2024, why not? The last game also took a stupid long time, and it did come out, and it was great. So like, I don't know. I think it'll come
For
out,
the amount of money they made on Hollow Knight, I'd take all the time you need on Silk Song. So
and they have.
yeah.
I mean,
like,
it's tough with a immediate sensation like that. I do not. I don't know. I'm not envious of them, of Team Cherry. I'm not envious of the Outer Wilds team. I'm not envious of the Undertale follow up. Deltarune. I'm not envious of Hotel Chocolatier. Like these are games that are going to be the follow up to Stardew Valley. Like when you have a game that is a seminal, genre defining, era defining game, following it up, and it's like your first game, and you're an indie. Following it up seems like a monumental task, unless, here's the one exception, Hotel Transylvania 4. God damn it, Eric. We were seconds away from getting there.
Because
I was 1 second away.
Yeah.
Unless you're Hotel Transylvania 4, in which case you did it. You followed up. There's no sophomore slump there because of Adam Sandler's Dracula and his friends. I haven't seen any of those movies. I don't know what they're about.
yeah, they're definitely not about whatever this game is, though. But
It does look like a Pikmin-like, which is great. If
it
you listen to this
does.
podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, welcome. We apologize, but this is the kind of stuff you can get if you tune in at youtube.com/
Second Win Group.
Second Win Group. There you go. I didn't know what our address was. But yeah, what aside from Silk Song, what do we got? What are we jonesing for?
Well, one of them I can't talk about because we're currently previewing it. But without saying what it is, I can already tell it's going to be one of those games that hits very well in the spring. It's just really good. So keep on the lookout for a specific game on the West Coast, I guess, is what I'll give you the hint for.
You realize you could talk about a game vaguely and reference the game.
But I'm having more
without
fun
doing
keeping
that.
people question what it is.
It's Pacific Drive. The game's Pacific Drive.
Fuck off.
Well, you know what? Either get better at being coy, or we're gonna break embargoes.
Like I personally, like, I can't just say that I'm excited for this game because I'm gonna sound like a corporate chill, but I am actually very excited for Prince of Persia: The Lost
So am
Crown.
I. Yeah, that's like the first big game of the year.
Yeah, like that's coming very soon.
Yeah.
Disclosure: KC works at Ubisoft. For anybody
Yes,
listening.
I'm a community manager for Ubisoft. In case people didn't know that.
Yeah,
But yes,
and you were the
I
model
don't work
for the
on Prince of
Prince
Persia,
game.
I'm also
Funny you
excited.
should say that.
I'm also excited to play this game, and it still weirds me out that they haven't continued to mention it's from the team. I don't know how much of the team is left from Rayman Legends and Origins, but at least the studio behind that game is behind the new Prince of Persia game, and they have not mentioned it once, and I don't know why.
Ubisoft Montpellier.
I really don't know why.
Yeah, hard to say.
But other third-party games I'm really looking forward to. Definitely looking forward to No Rest for the Wicked, the new game from the Ori studio. That trailer really excited me from the Game Awards. They actually reached out to us today to put us in the reaction trailer they're doing for it. So I guess we'll see ourselves reacting to that in their trailer.
Was I doing fist bumps?
I don't know. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what my reaction
You might
was.
have been doing a jerking motion.
Excuse me.
I am also looking. I'm just looking at the list of why I'm like a lot. 'Cause, Baby Steps. Baby Steps looks fucking hilarious, and I cannot wait to play that. That looks like a very stupid game to stream that we're gonna have too much fun with.
Also,
Black
me
Myth
being
Woods.
no,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna chime in that me being like a Capcom fanboy at the moment, because they have not missed for anything they've dropped. Dragon's Dogma 2 looks really, really cool. I never got a chance to get into the first one, but the second one looks like it's gonna be a banger, honestly.
Yeah, they just it's IGN's first for the month, and they just put up a bunch of gameplay, and it looks
Oh,
sick.
I need to check that out. I did
I
not
need
know that.
to. I need to go watch more of that because like I could never get into Dragon's Dogma 1. Even though I like the combat of it, but like the world bored the hell out of me.
Weirdly enough, like I've read the entire like Wikipedia thing for the story for Dragon's Dogma and its DLC, because I was just weirdly entranced in, like, I heard one specific thing about its story and then went and read the whole thing and found it super actually like interesting. So like I know what happens in Dragon's Dogma, so I'm just gonna jump into 2 with no qualms.
You're like someone who doesn't like to see horror movies but reads the Wikipedia descriptions of all of them.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's it's a big year for the AAA third parties as well as the little indies. Like we mentioned Final Fantasy earlier. That's obviously a big one in February. Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League is also coming out at the beginning of February, which I feel like has an uphill battle. They've been doing these little directs every once in a while, and it just doesn't feel like, I don't know.
I need to watch that newest direct because people have been saying on social media like that newer direct sold them a bit more on the game.
Yeah, I feel that way at least.
Yeah, they've been showing us more of like the story stuff, which is getting me more interested. It may be one of those games that like just a really really bad game trailer that they use to show off like what the game is. But I still don't. I need to go watch it direct because I feel like I don't know what the game is still.
Yeah, I'm very worried for that game and for Rocksteady.
Yeah, yeah. With all the layoffs, it is not a time to have a big live service game at this scale fail.
Yep. Which is a bummer. Also, beginning of February, we got Persona 3 Portable or Persona 3 Reload. Sorry, the 10th Persona 3 game, which I'm really excited for. I think this could be a lot of people's first, a lot of modern Persona fans' first foray into Persona 3, which is a slightly darker, more mature take on Persona. That'll be a big one. Sega's got actually a big next couple months lined up. I already mentioned how Metaphor ReFantazio, which probably isn't coming out till the end of the year, but that is the core Persona 3, 4, and 5 team going to do their own new IP, which looks like the most stylish thing I've ever seen. But then RGG Studio has, I know, like, seems like we got a lot of Yakuza, Like a Dragon last year, which we did, but finally, like, the next core one is coming out at the end of this month in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which I think looks so fucking cool, and I'm so excited. Everything they show, it is just more games clumped onto it. Like, now they're like, oh, there's also like there's just a full Pokemon game in here. There's like a full Monster Collection
on top
game.
of the Animal Crossing stuff they showed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Listen, if they do a little guy in a big world in there, kidding me? We're done.
Boy.
We're done. We could just we could lock it up for the year. And then I'm really excited about Unicorn Overlord, which is not the best video game name, but it is the next game by Vanillaware, the studio who did like Muramasa and most recently
Dragon's
13
Crown.
Sentinels. Yeah, Dragon's Crown.
Right, yeah.
And most recently 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, which was one of my favorite games of the last few years. And this one looks like their take on kind of like a Fire Emblem-esque game, like a big kind of medieval fantasy tactics, broad sweeping epic, a ton of characters. Like, looks like their take on like a Thrones or a Fire Emblem, which and with their incredible art style. So they kind of don't miss, honestly. Yeah, Odin Sphere. They're I don't know if that was their first game, but the first game I ever thought about them with. But yeah, I think a lot of Japanese studios released some bangers, including what we have in the art. It's Elden Ring.
Oh, right.
The art is Elden Ring.
Yeah, we
Time to Elden Ring. 91 minutes.
We had a lot of restraint there.
We did. I'm proud of us. Do we think that we think that's this year? We're comfortable in saying that's this year.
I'm kind of confident. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's like an August release.
You're just very specific with your months.
I don't know. It just seems like the time when From Software likes to release their games. I mean, I know Elden Ring came out in February, but they're like kind of back half of the year, right before the not right before the holiday rush, but a little bit before, like after the summer rush. But yeah, that was kind of like next on my list of games with like Black Myth Wukong, Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, Warhammer Space Marine 2, and then whatever Elden Ring or Shadow of the Erdtree is. Like I'm ready to jump back into more Elden Ring, whatever that ends up being.
Like, is this a FromSoft had 2 releases not last year.
No, they just had the one.
Yeah, it had the one.
It was
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Elden Ring was 2 years ago. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So yeah, if they wait all the way till August, will we see something else? Like, because I feel like they have enough team to do that.
I mean,
Like Armored Core, like just had I think some small updates recently, but like there's room there for something bigger down the line if they're working on it.
I don't think so this soon.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if we get Armored Core DLC before the Elden Ring expansion. That being said, it sounds like the Elden Ring expansion is big, is like is like more than just like, oh, here's some extra bosses and a new zone. Like it sounds like it's like almost going to be a thing, which makes sense because I mean that was far and away their most successful game, their best selling game. Like that game sold way better than I ever thought a From Software game would. And so
yeah.
I bet that DLC is gonna be like $30.
Yeah, I mean they could charge full price for it, and I think people would. No one's gonna say no.
Yeah,
No one's gonna say no if they're like, "Here's 25 hours of Elden Ring." You're like, "Yes, I will.
Yeah.
I will do that."
Yeah, that sounds plausible.
There will probably be another Sekiro bump this year when Microsoft decides to do that Activision Game Pass thing.
Mm-hmm.
True.
That is an Activision game, which is weird.
I mean,
yeah.
It's just weird to think.
I still think that's like one of the
Activision.
weirdest games Activision has ever published.
Yeah, exactly. Bobby Pockets knew how to get good. No, he did not. He probably did not know that they ever like. He didn't know what that was.
They were doing that.
They're like FromSoft is they got skin in the game. Yes, we'll pay for whatever you do next, and it was Sekiro, and it was like we can't turn this into Call of Duty.
Yeah.
How do we get DLC for Sekiro? You don't.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't ever want to work with you again.
That's kind of what happened. I feel like.
Yeah.
Also in Japan, Konami, which
that's going back to that super chat about what do we think will be one of the most disappointing projects of the year.
All Silent Hill stuff.
Which one? Oh, that or Metal Gear? You could do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Silent Hill 2 is yeah. I think I'm wrong. I think Bloober knows how important it is to not fuck this game up. Whether or not Konami says otherwise, I think is the question.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing knowing that you shouldn't fuck something up, and another thing not fucking it up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people go into these projects with bad intentions.
No, it's a matter of like they haven't. Bloober's never made a action heavy horror game, and it kind of feels like that's the direction Konami wants them to take this. It's more Resident Evil than Silent Hill. Not that Silent Hill didn't have action or anything, but just
didn't have a lot of it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, last year we got a pair of pretty faithful remakes of classic horror games in Dead Space and Resident Evil 4. And it feels like those kind of set a bar for like, this is what we expect from this. And so I think both Silent Hill and Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta, even though obviously that's a different genre, have kind of big shoes to fill with their respective games. Because if you make a 1-to-1 remake, they might feel quaint and antiquated. If you modernize them too much, their respective fan bases will go fucking insane. And so those are games, unlike Dead Space and Resident Evil 4, like those are games I'm gonna play them. I'm looking forward to them out of curiosity, but I just don't know. It feels like a lose-lose situation in my mind.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping Bluebeard Team surprises everybody and like really nails it with the Silent Hill 2 remake. The Metal Gear the Metal Gear 3 one, I don't particularly care about that one so much.
Yeah, that from what they've shown at least, that just looks like a graphical overhaul. Like I'm not seeing anything else about that would make me go, "Oh, this is an interesting way to like re-experience." Other than the fact that it's hard to play that game in particular. Well, no, it's not actually.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Very easy to play that game now.
so
Yeah.
never mind.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just one of those things. Like, it's a Batterskull. Like, what do we have to trust? Like, why should we trust Konami right now? Which that's something Konami has to do. Like, Konami has to like.
You gotta earn that.
Yeah, you gotta earn that. I am more excited for Silent Hill. I almost said Ascension. God damn it. Townfall and F, the two other projects that were announced in the Silent Hill universe alongside Ascension, which hopefully just set a low bar. Like maybe it's all uphill from there. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Tommy's in a weird spot.
Do we expect to hear something about a Castlevania project?
There's been rumors for a while about them doing
maybe.
something with it.
Because like of all the stuff that they've had in their back catalog, Castlevania was the one that they were actually using like as a Netflix series, which is really good. It's weird that they weren't like chomping at the bits to get some sort of game synergy with that.
Yeah, they've been using it as a Netflix, and they've always been very on the ball with collections, remasters of old games, like having the original games, having they released the the 3 Game Boy Advance games a year or two ago. People want them to do the DS ones. It's always harder to just port DS games to normal consoles because if they utilize the second screen a lot, it's like, well, what the fuck do we do with this? Like, we have to rethink this. It's not just right click save as, because that's what most video games are.
I just looked up Mercury's Steam because I remember, I think everybody kind of forgot that they made the Castlevania Lords of Shadow games, and then they also made Metroid Dread.
Yeah, that was their first game.
Yeah, because nobody remembers Space Lords.
No, I love a game. Space Lord though.
That was a live service game that trugged along for years, but they're working on a dark fantasy action RPG, but it's partnered with 505 Games, so it's not Castlevania.
Oh, that would have been interesting. They went from the Metroid to the Vania. But yeah, as Eric has in the corner, they did put Castlevania in Dead Cells, like a pretty thorough folding in of Castlevania with a huge indie game. So
that's just collecting a paycheck, though, right?
I remember for us was not too thrilled with that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we reviewed it on 3MR.
Did we? I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
Yep, we did.
Oh. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what they have in store there. And then there's a ton of indies. I don't know. Are there any on this list that stand out to you? Like we brought up stuff like Baby Steps, Hades too. Yeah.
Nine Souls, which during like the Steam summer tryout, whatever that thing is, where you get all the demos.
Steam summer tryout. Steam Little League tryouts.
No, yeah, we actually streamed like a bunch in a row, and Nine Souls like has held my attention ever since. Like it is a 2D action platformer that feels the closest to Sekiro than any other game I've played, like including like Lies of P, Wolong. Yeah, like all these other ones that are like, oh, I want to be like Sekiro. Nine Souls actually feels like Sekiro, but in 2D. Like it is so cool, stylish. Like the story that we got a little tidbit of in that little demo we played was like super engaging. It's like kind of a weird retro, but also sci-fi universe. Like I am super excited for that. I can't like every time I've checked on it since then, there has been no date. So I'm surprised to see it on this list. Did they add a date? Like, is it supposed to actually drop in 2024?
No, so I just gathered a list of a bunch of indie games that I've been looking forward to. I dropped the lists in the chat, and these are games that maybe they'll come out this year. Some of them have dates. Maybe they won't come out this year. Indie games are less... their publishers don't usually say a year and a half out. Oh, it's going to come out this year. Like indie is very much going to be done when it gets done, as we can see from something like Silk Song. But Yeah, there's there's a lot of good stuff on the horizon of all different genres. Some of them sequels, like sequels to games of the year, like Hollow Knight and Hades 2. And then others, like Nick, you mentioned No Rest for the Wicked earlier. Follow-ups to Ori, follow-ups to big games by familiar studios. Yeah, just a lot of good stuff out there that um, I don't know. When we get to the beginning of years, I was talking about this in a meeting earlier. The exciting thing is to get to an end of the year. So you take a look at your favorite games of last year, and to think what games that did I literally not know existed at the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
And so it's cool to be like, well, yeah, while there's all these games that we know of that we're excited for, there's undeniably going to be some of our favorite games of the year that we literally don't know exist that come out of nowhere. That's like last year had your Dave the Divers, your Cocoons, your Dredges, stuff that if you follow the right people on Twitter, maybe you had an eye on early footage or gifs or anything. But for a lot of people, didn't know it exists, and all of a sudden it disappears. So I'm hoping we get a lot of those this year.
One of the interesting things about that Nine Souls game is from the same developer that made Devotion, which was that game that was banned
That's
by
right,
the
that
Chinese
horror
government.
game. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
we
very.
streamed that 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah, a
Does
very
that mean we're
different
banned by the Chinese government?
Probably.
for streaming Nine Souls. Yeah, sorry, Casey, can't go to can't go to China this year. Yeah, I don't. Do you guys see one of those indies that you think might be like the breakout hit? Do you think like Nine Souls might be that, like every year seems like it has a handful of indies that really
Like if
kind of
if Nine
rise to the top?
Souls if Nine Souls releases, I think it's gonna make big waves. But like
Mhm.
it's really hard to say with indies because like sometimes people just don't play them.
Yeah.
Like they just never find out about them at all. But
Mhm.
like
One
yeah,
that's
if Nine Souls gets in front of the right people, hopefully we're the right people because I'm gonna play it if it comes out. But
Hell
like
yeah.
that game looks like it's gonna be a big deal.
one that's not on the list that I think is already a big deal and it's going to be an even bigger deal when it does come out is Crowsworn, which looks almost exactly like Hollow Knight, but from
Mm.
different developers.
Oh, that's the one with like the plague
that-
doctor mask thing.
Yeah, and that game. I mean, people have been testing it from Kickstarter and singing it praises, so I think that's going to be a major hit when it does come out.
Cool.
But I think
was it called Crowsworn?
Crowsworn.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mouthful.
But yeah, I think Pacific Drive might be, without breaking embargoes, is feeling like to me like it's gonna be that next Subnautica type game.
Which is friggin' huge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for the Plucky Squire. Do you know why?
Yeah.
Because it looks
You know why I'm
incredible.
excited for it?
Because it's
Is
got
it-
small
it's a-
people in a little world.
Yeah.
Little dude in a big world.
world,
Nick's
big
got
world,
it.
big
Little
world.
dude in a big world. What's that little dude doing there? Get out of there.
It does look really cool though. It looks like it's jumping through like a ton of different genres and
Yeah.
like art styles even.
Yeah. And like the
also,
objects in the room.
You didn't have Replaced on your list either.
I did not have Replaced. No. Would you like to talk about Replaced?
No, it's obviously taken some delays because the developers were from Ukraine and Belarus, so lots of obviously the war going on over there has slowed down development for them. But every time people see that game, they go ape shit over it. So same with The Last Night, which you have on your list, which I don't know what that game is now. Like I follow the developer and like he talks about it a lot. Just I just feel like he's not showing it until it's done and ready.
This is good. I can appreciate that. But then it's like maybe you learned your lesson from showing it very early. But I guess if Microsoft offers you a spot at an E3 showcase, you kind of don't say no.
Take it. Yeah, you don't say no.
Fair enough.
Yeah, a ton of cool stuff. Just it's we always keep our eye on all those indie publishers, your Annapurnas, your Devolvers, your Thunderfuls. It feels like there's more and more indie publishers that pop up.
Yeah,
every
throw
day.
NeoWiz on that list now. Like
Yeah, honestly.
everything that they've come out with recently has been like good. Like good.
Yeah, Liza P and Sanabi were both published by them.
Yeah.
And they had something prior to that as well that I was surprised and didn't realize was them. But I can't think of it right now.
Those big MMOs that everybody rails on are funding those games. So
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you can make games I don't give a shit about, and if they fund the games I do give a shit about, then keep making the ones I don't care about. That's great. That's great. Like, absolutely.
No
Get that
skin
money.
off my back.
Yeah, do one for them and then one for us.
I think
Cool.
I think you were thinking of Unsold, Casey.
Yes, Unsold. Yes,
You also liked Skull the Hero Slayer.
that's them too. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. They
Really?
they got some bangers in their repertoire.
Tastemakers. Yeah.
And Lies of P was like the first kind of triple A feeling game from them. So like they've kind of leveled up even, and like they were one to watch. That's all I'm
Yeah.
gonna say.
There you go. Before we move on to the things we've been playing and watching to wrap up the show, Zoe, $2 dono. Thank you so much. 2024, the year of the Super Virtual Boy. Can you imagine? Nintendo just went full VR. Next console, just only VR.
Just
Yikes.
burn your eyeballs right out of your head.
Yeah, there you go. Chubbiest Thread, welcome to the Green Gang. And Jess P, welcome to the Tip Jar. Thank you all so much. Drew, thank you so much for the dono. Orion's Belt is a huge waste of space. WAIST. Orion's Belt, a waste of space. Very good, Drew. That was incredible. That might be that's like a top 5 goof of the year so far. Hasn't been a very long year. So
Did you use that in real life? And then you was like, "Oh, this is really good. I had to come bring it to show my friends." So you use
also
the super chat here.
also works way better in text form. It's one of those jokes that only works in text form. Thank you so much, Drew. Nixie, been in the Green Gang for a month. Thank you so much. Where is Golden Sun on Nintendo Switch Online? 23 my ass, Nintendo. They're just waiting. They're waiting. Don't worry, it's coming. Isaac and all his pals are coming. And then John Blee, been a member for a month in the Green Gang. Thank you so much, John Blee. Just want it known, Nick, have you seen RoboCop?
No.
The robotic cop.
No.
You had a lot of time over this
Did
break.
I watch anything over break? What did I?
Well,
do?
Nick, this is what we've been playing and watching. Let's talk about it. What have you been watching?
I don't know. If
Okay,
I
what have you
watched
been
anything
playing?
over- I don't know if I watched anything. I'm trying to remember. I mean, I've been watching Reacher. The second season of Reacher has been quite good.
That's something.
Nice.
He's still big.
He's still very big.
Yeah,
I would
he's
not want to
huge.
get in a fight with that man. He
This
breaks a lot
season-
of people's legs and arms in this show. Like
Yeah.
a lot. Like a lot. Like
How-
like I have I don't like hearing bones be snapped, and he continually just likes to snap everybody's legs, and I don't like it.
Yeah, he's rude.
Would you be into a season of Reacher where he had to deal with the problem of now he's small, like he's like been
That's just the
cursed?
Tom Cruise movies.
Wait, where he's a little guy in a big world?
That's just the Tom Cruise movies.
That sounds great. Yeah, there literally was a Reacher where he was small.
There's
and it
two
was Tom
Reacher
Cruise's
movies.
next
It's Tom
Reacher.
Cruise.
Right, you're right. You're so right.
Yeah, and that was like the biggest criticism of those movies. Like everybody's like, he's supposed to be like a buff
He's
boy.
not big enough.
Then they
Yeah,
found the largest man ever.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, how about this? You know what?
Yeah,
Sold.
incredible. So you haven't been watching anything, but what you've been playing using your fingers?
Yeah, I've been playing a lot. So I played The Last Faith. So one of my objectives for 2024 is to try to break into the 2D Metroidvania realm a bit more, because it's one of those genres I start a lot of them and I never finish them because I get really annoyed by the maps and getting so confused. So I finally just said, fuck it, I'll be a bad gamer boy and use the guide to basically just lead me in the right direction. So I at least know where I needed to go, but then, play the game without the guide for the rest of there, including
No
not
shame in that.
using. Yeah. So like I think if I play more Metroidvanias, I'll get used to those types of maps. But as you guys know, I hate a lot of backtracking in games. Unless the game does it really well where I don't notice it, which I don't feel like most Metroidvanias do. But also, Last Faith does not have a great map. It doesn't really tell you where to go. One game I'm actually playing right now, it's not playing in depthly, but I've started it. It's another Metroidvania. Is The Last Case of Benedict Fox, and it actually has some different modes. Like one, it has like different difficulty modes basically, and one of them is I don't like to be told where to go at all. I like to be told where to go a little bit, and I don't like feeling lost ever. And it gives you like directions, kind of like which way you need to go after you do a certain direction if you get lost. More Metroidvanias need that, please.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But for The Last Faith, The Last Faith is basically 2D Bloodborne. I had a pretty damn good time with it. Up until like the last 5 bosses, which I had to grind a lot for to beat because they are really fucking tough. And Twitter, I think Twitter followed my descent into madness trying to beat Alfred, the boss. That guy's an asshole. He's a real asshole. But
Is
I
there like
ended
a
up being
hyphen in between Al and Fred?
no, it's Alfred, like Alfred the. I'm just calling him Alfred the dickhead. Yeah, that boss with the big long white hair. Looks exactly like a Bloodborne boss. But yeah, I would recommend it. It's actually really fun. The combat is really solid. I think some people were harsh on it when it came out, and I think it got some patches and fixed a lot of the issues. So, even though I was very frustrated by the end with it, I would still recommend it. The other game I've been playing a lot of is Temtem, weirdly enough, where I have continually tried to get into like the other non-Pokemon pixel kind of monster catching games, so like Koromon or Moonstone Island or whatever, but they all seem to have like they're just too slow, like Pokemon. Like Moonstone Island has like all the crafting mechanics, and I don't like that. Even though I really like the art style of that game. Koromon is probably the closest to Pokemon, but I just don't really care for the monster designs. I tried another one. I was playing Cassette Beast, but I just really don't like the art style of that game at all.
There is something. It is crazy because I played Pokemon Leaf Green over the break, which is just a remake of. It was a Game Boy Advance remake of the original Pokemon, so the Kanto 150. And there is something, and again, I don't know if this is just nostalgia. Maybe it's nostalgia, but there's something about those monster designs that's just so much better and more iconic than any of these knockoffs. Not knockoffs even, but like everyone comes for the crown and no one can get it because just Pokemon look better. Like the Pokemon designs are just
it really
better.
is just that.
Yeah,
it's got to
like
be
wild.
nostalgia though, right?
I
I
don't
don't think
know.
so.
Like,
I think they're
Nick and I are
creatures.
like slightly different generation, and we both feel the same way. So
Yeah.
like,
That's why I finally got sucked into Temtem is because like the more I played it, the more those designs have kind of just hit the right note for me. Where like I'm actually interested in catching those creatures and adding them to my collection. Where the other Pokemon light game, like I know a lot of people love Cassette Beasts. The designs of the monsters in that game, I hate them. Amy's in the chat somewhere screaming at me.
no, she's had a conniption fit after the PoE thing.
Yeah.
she just left. She just left the Slack and was like, "I'm done here."
But yeah, so I had tried Temtem a few times and didn't really jive with it, and then I finally just sat down, like really stuck with it this time, and it definitely like has. It's so even the music is Pokemon. I know Casey, you reviewed it. It's like it's literally Pokemon in everything but name.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. It's hit that nice. It's got a nice pace to it. It's got the good backtracking that Pokemon has, where you get the new abilities and enter new locations and secrets to find and all that kind of thing. So, I don't know. I've had a pretty good time with it. It's been kind of a good turn your brain off and just RPG it up.
Yeah,
like
I can. Yeah, if you like that loop of a creature collector, like Temtem does that. I'm not a fan. Like one of our earlier, late last year hidden gems was a game called Monster Sanctuary, which is a creature collector that kind of moonlights as a 2D platformer / Metroidvania, like very light in terms of platforming and Metroidvania. But some of the creatures you collect get abilities outside of like the fighting.
Yeah,
And like
HMs
that's really
and
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that, like that's the first of one of these that I thought was actually like a really cool concept. I didn't get super deep into it, but like if like the puzzle stuff, the platforming stuff gets deeper, then I think I'm gonna be a big fan. Cause like even the turn-based fighting has like a cool kind of meta game where you're like linking certain kinds of attacks and trying to rack up combos or whatever. That kept it interesting for me. So like if you're looking for something like that, I would suggest Monster Sanctuary.
Yeah, I think the creature collector game I'm looking forward to the most though is the Pal World one.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Just get to blow them up.
That one looks like a trip, honestly.
It's supposedly going out soon, but that's a lie.
Until
it's coming out in January.
Until
I'm like, it's
Nintendo
January.
says nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah, everybody's gonna yell at me, but I'm gonna stream it tomorrow, so who cares? I've been playing a lot of Modern Warfare 3. I held off for a really long time because
A funeral, candlelight vigil for Bobby Kotick.
yeah. No, but I held off on that a really long time because I didn't really get with the beta very much, and like over break I spent a lot of time playing a lot of different multiplayer games. So I played a lot of Hell Let Loose, so I still really enjoy that game. I played quite a bit of Squad actually, and then Postscriptum, which is like World War II Squad. Well, now it literally is World War II Squad. They rebranded it to Squad 44. And I had a good time with all those games. I think I was trying to figure out like over the break, like what is my taste in multiplayer FPS games these days? Because like Call of Duty is too fast for me for the most case. I like Halo Infinite. I just don't love playing it, and I've like really loved like the teamwork and the camaraderie of like Hell Let Loose, where like people get into the role play. I don't really do much of the role play, but like I like the strategy of Hell Let Loose, like having somebody as a commander tell me go here, do this objective, and I don't know, it just feels like I'm playing something at a much larger scale than just get number up on chart, right? So played a lot of those, and then I was like, you know what? Let's give Call of Duty a shot. And I kind of got hooked on it. Turns out Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer actually is quite good.
Yeah, the kids love it.
Yeah, I've been having a pretty good time with it. I've been only playing hardcore mode though, because once you get used to like squad and siege and everything, where it's like one shot, one kill for everything.
Is that where they're not wearing pants? You
Yeah.
to war without pants?
Yeah.
Slapping against your leg like Blue Eye Samurai?
That's the sound propagation.
There's a ton of dick in Blue Eye Samurai. Have we talked about that?
Surprisingly,
we have talked about
soft
that.
peen, yes.
Good heavens.
but yeah, when you're playing in hardcore mode in Call of Duty, that's how you know when somebody's coming out behind you to kill you, because just hear slapping.
Yeah. Blue Eye Samurai is great. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just started watching. I'm only 4 episodes in. I think it's delightful.
It is very delightful.
I think it's delightful. I think it's great. I was gonna say more people should be talking about it, but I feel like everyone's already watched it and talked about it a bunch. You know, we haven't talked about how good animation was at the end of last year.
Yes, I've been beating this drum all year.
I still haven't watched Spider-Verse. I'm sorry,
dude. And Jesus, first off, that wasn't even on the list.
Shut up! You haven't watched Avatar.
On Netflix. Yeah, but no one cares about it.
It's not animated.
Avatar is absolutely animated. What are you talking about?
What do you mean?
There's real people in that. CG animated is not the same as.
Oh yeah, those dragons are animated.
You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna sit here and be gaslit like this.
You're mad because you don't like Jake Sully.
Yeah.
Does anyone like Jake Sully? Is that a thing?
How many tattoos of Jake
fans?
Sully do you think exist?
I was gonna say his kids like him, but his kids don't even like him in the movies, so I don't know.
Spoilers.
You don't care.
Domestic disputes. But yeah, animation. The end of last year, we had the Scott Pilgrim anime. We had which was fantastic. That is like everyone watch it. Even if you think it's going to be a straight up Scott Pilgrim adaptation, get to the end of the first episode and realize that it's more than that. Blue Eye Samurai, incredible. Like just leans a little too hard into the we were inspired by Kill Bill. Like the Kill Bill needle drop is the only thing that took me out in the first 4 episodes, because that's already a thing that wears its influences on its sleeves. But I've been loving the first 4 episodes. Pluto, which is that sort of a more mature take on Astro Boy, incredible. Just what an amazing little mystery. I didn't land the plane for me, but it didn't matter. 7.5 episodes.
I agree. Loved.
Yeah. And then Casey, did you watch Scavenger's Reign?
I've started. I'm on episode 4. That's a good ass show. Like Nick, you'd be into that. Like if you were a fan of Raised by Wolves, right?
Oh, Raised by Wolves, yeah.
It's a lot of that sort of energy.
Yeah. I mean, the principled man in me says they canceled Raised by Wolves, so
these are different people.
This won't hurt those people.
They're not taking the food out of their mouths.
They did.
Yeah, Scavenger's Reign is like, it feels like a fully fleshed out biome of a setting. Like it's this strange planet, and you're it feels like you're learning about the planet. You're learning about the flora and the fauna in a way to where I'm like, this is like triggering something in my head that good game settings do. And it's rare that I get that triggered in a non-game setting. So, yeah, anyone who is remotely interested in like sci-fi exploration games should watch Scavenger's Reign, because it is like world building at its finest. Like literal building of a world.
Eventually.
Yeah.
I don't know. The only show I'm like extremely excited to watch right now is that upcoming Shogun show from FX.
Yeah, that looks good.
I'm so
as
excited
hell.
for
I hope
that.
it's good.
Yes.
I hope it's good. FX has been on a pretty good run the last couple of years, so
Yes.
let's hope. I watched the first 2 episodes of Pokemon Concierge on Netflix.
How was
There's only
that?
4 episodes. Delightful. You know why? Because my favorite thing about Pokemon is when they're not fighting. And this isn't some like fucking beatnik Pokemon's gone woke garbage. I just don't think the battles are that interesting, because I think it's like a real. I just think Pokemon battles are basic as shit. It is I pick out what my team is an hour into the game. They got 4 moves. I never give them any moves unless what does big damage, and then I just roll through the game. So the fighting is boring to me. I like Pokemon when I'm taking pictures with them, and I like Pokemon when I'm hanging out with them. And Concierge is just hanging out with them. It's a girl who's like, she's voiced by the female of the species from The Boys, which is funny because no one knows what her voice sounds like because she doesn't speak in The Boys.
Oh yeah.
But just delightful. Delightful. She has the worst, as a girl who has the worst year ever, and then she leaves and is like, I'm going to become an employee at a Pokemon resort, and it is delightful. The animation is by this French studio, and everything looks like Robot Chicken, but good. Like it looks like dolls, like less like Coraline stop animation, but the things like the humans literally look like they're dolls. But really good. Yeah, I've just been really enjoying it.
Does it turn into Paw World in the second half of the season?
It's only 4 episodes, and I watched 2 of them. So as of right now, no. It could though. She befriends a Psyduck, and if you guys know about Psyduck, El Cheshire, not stop motion, because they like
trip.
Literally looks like a. To me, it literally looks like a Barbie doll. So it's less like Coraline Nightmare Before Christmas stop animation, but it literally looks like a doll you would like buy at a store. So I don't know if it's stop animation, but it looks yeah, maybe I'm just having like a hard way to describe it, but it looks different to me than the other ones.
Yeah,
I've been
hearing a lot of good things about Pokemon Concierge.
Yeah, nice
it remind me of like the art style of like some of those older Christmas movies.
Yeah, like Rudolph.
Yeah,
Rudolph, yeah.
Santa Claus coming to town. Clean stop motion.
Yeah,
but probably less like jerky than back in the day, right?
What do you mean? That abominable snowman ain't jerky at all.
He's real jerky.
That boy wanted to become a dentist. Did you know? So I rewatched that again this year. That Rudolph? The Island of Misfit Toys. Yeah, the Island of Misfit Toys is all about these toys who it's like broken toys have to go to the Island of Misfit Toys. It's like,
sure,
I'm a water gun that shoots jelly, or I'm a Jack in the Box and my spring doesn't work. There's a doll who's there, and you know why the doll is in the Island of Misfit Toys? Because she's sad. It's like, could you imagine like a penal colony we send sad people to? Because Second Wind wouldn't exist, or we'd all be hanging out at the penal colony.
It would exist just at that location.
You have an office. That'd be nice.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Okay, so you watch anything else?
I only played one game, but it was a big one. I finished Alan Wake 2 literal hours before this podcast.
That was my goal of Christmas break. Didn't even touch it.
Didn't touch it at all?
I finished Alan Wake 2.
Oh, Alan Wake boys.
Okay, because
I don't know if I did it over break though. I don't know. Fuck.
That was a good ass video game, y'all. It looks like how Resident Evil, like the remakes look when I see other people play them. So it very much is making me think maybe I could get into Resident Evil 2 remake and 4 remake or whatever finally, because I've just bounced off of those for so long. But honestly, Alan Wake 2 is a good ass video game because of its story, and that runs so counter to how I've enjoyed most of my favorite video games. Story is always additive to the fact that there's really solid gameplay elements and loops to explore. Outside of the story could have been bad, and I'd be like, all right, this is a good game, just had a sucky story. But Alan Wake 2 is a very mediocre gameplay experience. But because of its story, all of that is elevated. Everything feels way more interesting and tense, and it's hard to get into without spoiling anything. Like if you have not played it, but like the storytelling in Alan Wake 2 is like this sort of celebration of like Remedy as a studio that even if you weren't a fan of some of the stuff in their back catalog, you kind of either can appreciate it or want to go back and give it another shot. Like I kind of want to go play Quantum Break and finish it because like Jesse and I messed around with it for a Hidden Gems. It was like, yeah, this story is kind of interesting, but like this gameplay is boring. I think I might suffer through the rest of that game because of what Alan Wake 2 is like doing with like its meta narrative and
shared universe kind of thing.
Yeah, shared universe stuff. Like people already knew that there was some sort of connection between stuff, but like I really loved how they tied it all into its weird like mystery themed procedural TV show setting. Like every end of a chapter did feel like I was finishing up an episode in like the sort of way where I was like, oh, maybe just one more, even though I know like just one more is like 4 more hours to me. And I'm like, I can't do this. But like the game finishes and its ending sets you up. Like it has a kind of a satisfying ending, but it definitely sets you up for more. And I don't know if they plan like a full-on other game, but I think they just released what they call the final
like a new game
cut.
The final draft, I think.
Final draft, yeah. Which like I started out of morbid curiosity, and I think it's just a new game plus with like some added stuff. I'm probably not going to play through that a whole second time. Like
yeah,
to be
they
fair,
announced they're doing DLCs, like actual DLCs,
like proper DLC. Okay,
yeah, like how Control had the DLCs.
Sure, but like this is just new game plus. It seems.
Yes,
with,
correct. But
like,
I think
a little bit of added.
I think they meta new game plus a little bit. Like I think it's something like your new game plus is aware that it's a new game plus.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, because I started it and like already stuff was different at the beginning.
Yeah,
but I don't know if I have enough time to find out how much stuff is different. Like I would love this if after the first hour it ends. Because I'd be like, that's awesome as like a little cherry on top of like what I just experienced. But if I have to go through the whole game again to get that, it's a little much. But I really, really liked Alan Wake 2. Like,
even as someone who's like not crazy about survival
fan
horror, you were
yeah. Like Remedy, I gotta give it up to them because like Control is what pulled me into all of their stuff. Really, like that game appealed to me, but its universe and its introduction of like that kind of what do you call it? CSP, SPC,
SCP.
SCP. Sorry, yeah, that SCP type stuff. Like I'd not known that was a thing before Control. That was my first experience with that sort of storytelling, and I didn't know it was a thing I was into. So like, if that counts as horror, like I didn't know that was horror, and that's probably part of the reason why I was just not a horror fan.
yeah. Horror's like so broad though, so it's like you found your niche of horror that you're really into.
Yeah. Like forever ago, like I learned that I was into like Lovecraftian type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is like a new door that Control opened for me.
Yeah.
And then going back and playing like the Alan Wake remastered forever ago, I was like, oh, this is more of that stuff. Like I can do this. Like I like this. So and Alan Wake 2 is it's a really good version of all of that jazz. Like if you like Control, there's a lot of Control-esque storytelling in Alan Wake 2 because it is a shared universe. And to move on from that, I finished Loki season 2, which I was playing Alan Wake at the same time. And the similarities are kind of crazy. Like I feel like no one has mentioned that before, but it's the same thing. It's like weird sci-fi or supernatural concept tied to bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And like while watching that and playing other thing, like I was really drawn into that dynamic. And like if that's a genre by itself, I think I might need to find more stuff like that. So chat, send me recommendations.
You need to watch X-Files.
No, I loved X-Files. Yeah,
or
I love
Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks I've not watched, but I might.
Severance has a little bit of the like Severance,
sure.
the oldest
Severance
house,
is like that.
and the Time TVA or whatever the hell the place is called.
TVA,
all like seam of a cut from the same cloth. Loki season 2.
It was so good. It was so
real
good.
Holy
it was
smokes.
really good. Like I was shocked, like because I knew it was better than like a lot of the other Phase 4 stuff that was coming out, but like that went some places. Like that didn't need to be called Loki at all.
Yeah.
So does that season have a big CGI monster fest at the end? Okay, good.
No.
It is again, it is that thing like Andor, to where right before Andor came out, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm just done with Star Wars. And I watch Andor and I'm like, no, I'm not. I just want this. And then I get before Loki, I was like, you know what? Maybe my time with the MCU has passed. And I watched Loki and I'm like, no, I just want to feel like this again. This is how it makes me feel. And this is how I want to feel. It's so good. Tom Hiddleston's
It's
so
really
good.
good.
That whole supporting cast, great, top to bottom.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I started dipping back into a bunch of like old Marvel stuff that I missed, probably because Loki got me so hyped. So like I watched Love and Thunder, which isn't that bad. Like it's a good time. No big issues with it.
First half is good. Second half is poop.
I like that black and white scene on that moon.
Yeah, that's after that's like right at the middle point.
That big fight with the kids was freaking dope to me.
At the end?
Yes.
Really?
That child battle royale, that was awesome. Oh crap, what else was I watching? The Doctor Who Christmas special. So we got to see Kuti Gatwa's take, like he's going on his own solo adventure, no David Tennant or whatever. It's kind of the introduction of his like new sidekick, a lady named Ruby Sunday, which I think is just a dope TV name.
Damn.
But I will say, I think the episode was a little weak. And that's sad because it's like his first solo thing. Like, I really like the character, like his sidekick, Ruby Sunday, and I like Kuti Gatwa. And we've seen him in the David Tennant special kind of be himself. Like he is like super quirky. He'll like musingly go into his like African accent, which is something he does in other shows, like he does in Sex Education all the time, which is just his personality shining through in the character. But for whatever reason, he kind of doesn't do that in this episode. Like he doesn't seem to have an opportunity to, because he's dealing with a threat that's kind of childish in a way. Like they're dealing with like time traveling goblins, and like just saying that is like, okay, that's a little too goofy for my sensibility. Like I don't want to hear nothing about an orc or a goblin in my in anything I'm watching. Really, like that's like it pulls me out immediately. But I'm sure like younger fans would be like into it, or folks who don't have that aversion to like weird like
Goblins.
monster. Yeah, like yeah, folks who are like maybe they like it a little more than I did. But either way, I really like the pairing of those two actors. And like their character dynamic. So I want to see like the regular show, and I think it doesn't launch till spring. So like it's gonna be a while, I guess, till we see him get another crack at it.
But it's a good sign that you like their chemistry, that you like their pairing, because obviously that's what so much it's going to be about. The Doctor.
Yeah, it's going to revolve around those two, and then you just got to put them in better situations, and I think it'll be fine.
Get rid of the goblins. Goblins out of my Who.
Just thought of another show recommendation for KC. Outer Range on Amazon Prime.
Outer
really
Range.
Cool.
Outer Range. Yeah, you think you would really like that?
Yeah. Oh,
right,
Outer Range. You know what Outer Range was? That was the start of my fascination with voids. That was my proto void.
There is a big void in that, and
huge void.
I'm sure Marty just
a huge void, and I was like, "What's going on with this void?" Yeah, it's great. I guess
that's pretty much it for me.
Cool. My last thing is my weird journey through Final Fantasy VII has been continuing. I finished Final Fantasy VII OG proper. I finished Crisis Core. I watched Advent Children, and now I'm wrapping up Dirge of Cerberus.
That's the bad one.
Yeah, it's the worst of everything I've just
It's the worst.
It is the third-person shooter. It came out right at the end of the PS2's life.
Wasn't there a fighting game in that realm during that time period?
Right after Final Fantasy VII released on PS1, Square made a game called Air Guys, and it had Cloud, Tifa, and Sephiroth as like guest characters, but it wasn't like a Final Fantasy VII fighting game.
Okay, gotcha.
But it's like I kind of before Rebirth comes out, I'm trying to wrap my head around like what my thoughts on this thing are, because so Final Fantasy came out and changed the world, and then 10 years later they were like, we're going to do this victory lap where we do the compilation of Final Fantasy VII, and it was them being like, it's kind of like ego driven, like this is we could do whatever we want. We can make a movie, we can make a portable game, we can make cell phone games, we can make a shooter. It's honestly, it was like pre-MCU, so it was like them being like, we can do no wrong, we're at the top of the world, and none of them really clicked. And then they were like, well, we're going to do this forward facing with Final Fantasy 13 and Fabula Nova Crystallis, and none of that clicked. And it feels like, despite all of Square's stumbles in the 15 years since then, Final Fantasy as a series has been like humbled. 14 has been huge, but like 12, the 13 games, 15, like even 16 this year, like
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like it is at the place it used to be. And so this remake project that is currently going on with Remake and then with Rebirth, it feels um like it's so many of the same creators looking back on what they did 25 years ago, and it feels like reflective in a way that we're getting these movies of these, like we were talking about with Miyazaki earlier, Hayao Miyazaki, but we're getting movies by folks like him and Scorsese with both The Irishman and Killers of the Flower Moon, and Michael Mann with Ferrari, and Ridley Scott with Napoleon. These movies where it's like you can tell that these are artists coming to terms with their mortality, and so their art is becoming reflective based on the things they've made before. And Kojima's kind of been like that recently too. And it's knowing the ultimate failure of the compilation of games that came out in the mid 2000s is making me appreciate what they are doing with the modern remakes all the more. So yeah, I don't know if I'm ever going to put that into a video form because I don't know what that means, but I don't know. It's interesting to me, and I really hope Rebirth sticks the landing while simultaneously getting weirder with what a remake can be, because that's
Right.
one of the things I love most about Remake was it's not just a remake. Like when we talk about Scott Pilgrim, it's not
Yeah, it's
just a remake. Yeah,
like it is both reflective and transformative
celebratory.
of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
yeah,
Boy,
which is
it's
cool.
almost like Star Wars could have learned something about that.
I mean, Ryan Johnson tried.
Hmm.
Ryan Johnson
Hmm.
tried.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he said their parents were just junk traders, sold her off for hooch money. Did they have hooch in the Star Wars universe?
Yeah, oh,
Oh, there's
God
hella
damn it.
hooch in the Star Wars universe.
Did you not see
Cantina's
Jabba's
only got
palace?
Hooch on tap. Yeah, that's it.
I mean,
He has-
as much as you like love and people are loving these Final Fantasy rebirths, plural,
Yeah.
would aren't you curious if like that same team with that ability to reflect had just made something new? Like just if they were like, all right, we're getting the band back together, you make the Final Fantasy 18. I say 18 because we
Yeah,
know how far in the future it's gonna be.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I guess that's the problem. Like, if Final Fantasy VII remake and rebirth are so good, Final Fantasy 16 is kind of middling. Like, where do you take Final Fantasy next to hit that
Mhm.
high? They're gonna run into the same thing they did with Final Fantasy VII.
yeah.
Like, can we hit the same
It
high
just feels
again
like it
after
can
8 now?
never. I don't think anything will ever be Final Fantasy VII again, and I
Yeah.
think they're
Mhm.
kind of aware of it, and that's the reason this can exist. But I guess we'll see in whatever 2 months when Rebirth comes out if this is lent credence or if it's like, ooh, that wasn't a very good sequel. And I hope it's the former because I'm devoting a lot of time to replaying these games.
like 10 seemed like a big deal for them, right? Like that doesn't seem to get
10 was,
celebrated as
yeah. 10
much.
was actually post 7. 10 was the biggest, probably that, and 14. But a lot of people, myself included, like oftentimes don't think about it because it's an MMO. But
Mhm.
those are the biggest critical and commercial successes that also felt like they actually changed things. So it'll be interesting to see if they go back to Ever 10, if that feels like a well they want to go back to, because there's obviously been Final Fantasy 10 too, but there's been scuttlebutts of them doing a similar treatment of 10 with remake form. I don't know. Who knows? There's no way of knowing. Doctors don't even know. Do you guys have anything else? You want to wrap things up?
Yeah, I think that is it.
Oh my God, we did it before we leave. A couple last minute donos. Shinzu, thank you so much for the £5. Fuck, Mary, Kill, Buka, Sigmar, and Nick. Put him in a side quest already. Well, we can't kill Nick. We need Nick. We need Nick. We can't kill Sigmar either because Sigmar will return in season 4. Spoilers, I guess. I'm gonna be honest. I'm assuming you don't die in season 3.
Yeah, I can't say one way
People
or the
could
other.
people could have assumed no one was gonna die at the end of side quest, and that didn't work out. So, so there you go.
Character in side quest will be Sir D's of Nuts.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Jack know we're not gonna allow Nick in the
Don't let Nick play. Don't let play Nick Adventure. It's not.
What's your weapon? A soundboard. God damn it. And then
my
Nick,
weapon would be a big sack.
there you go. Nick the OG with the $2 dono. Thank you so much for still hyping Scavenger's Reign nearly 3 months later. It's really good. I just want more people to.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
Something up.
I just want more people
to hype something up.
I take that hype money. And then Nick with another $2. Wokemon.
Yes,
that's what happens when Pokemon went woke. It became Pokemon.
No. It's gonna be an ad on our Twitter feed.
And Geldon, month in the tip jar. Thank you so much, Geldon. There's never been a bad Final Fantasy. If there were only Final Fantasies that are ahead of their time, and sometimes those times probably exist in alternate realities than ours. Think about that. In an alternate reality, everyone loves the junction system from Final
never
Fantasy.
A bad Final Fantasy, but everybody keeps telling me not to touch Final Fantasy 13 trilogy.
That's because
it's bad.
It's not bad. It's weird.
Well, it's the opposite of
it
good.
It is weird because it's 3 games that are just ostensibly different genres, different tones. Everything is different about them. It's like the second one is like a time traveling monster hunter game, like monster collecting game, like a little Pokemon game. Your third party member is just a little monster. And then Lightning Returns is just Majora's Mask, but bad.
Oh, so it is bad.
It's bad. I think all of them might be bad. All of them might be bad. But you know what? If they don't release them on Switch, we're never going to know. Square, put them on Switch. Switch 2, launch games. Final Fantasy 13 trilogy. Who says no? Probably couldn't run it, if I'm going to be honest. Switch probably can't run the Final Fantasy 13 games.
Wow.
That's probably why they're not there.
Can run Crisis.
From the Cloud Crisis.
No, it's
Crisis Cloud. That was Final Fantasy.
You can run Witcher from the native port too.
How come Kingdom Hearts is still only cloud version? What's going on? What are we doing?
That's a choice.
Okay,
yeah,
I need. All right, so I need to know something. So, yeah. Kingdom Hearts. If I've been looking to play it, Kingdom Hearts. What the fuck is 1.5 and 2.5 and all these different?
Just buy those versions. Those are ultimately just the special editions of 1 and 2.
So confusing.
It is. That's
stupid.
You would hate Kingdom Hearts.
That's why I want to try it. Confirm that I will hate it.
That's kind of why I want to play Stray. So I get it.
What if you loved Stray? You just went through tears. You're like, I get it now.
I'm secretly afraid of that.
You guys said I wouldn't like Persona 5. Or I said I would.
No, you said that. Yeah.
Yeah, I said that.
You said you wouldn't like Persona 5.
I'm gaslighting you into thinking you said it.
I said that.
I still think I won't like it. Like you guys were making me think I might like it, but after seeing Nick play it, I'm more sure that I wouldn't like it.
But it's actually a creature collector, KC.
Yeah, that doesn't sell me.
You just wait. Me and you, Metaphor Refantasio boys. We're gonna refantaz all over the place later this year.
TGR has Persona 5 stream this weekend. No, but on the 14th, yes.
Coming soon.
My day of suffering is coming soon.
Dun, dun, dun. Goth Doctor's coming back. Guys, we did it. We got to the end of the episode. It was only 2 hours and 25 minutes. We need to get these shorter. We need to put another stream after this so that we have.
We missed like 2 weeks. Like there was a lot of backed up.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff to talk about. We had a lot of soundboarding stuff to go through at the start.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that cost us a full 30 minutes.
Yeah. And Alex Ricks with a $2 dono. Thank you so much. Persona 5 stream when?
If you just waited patiently, you wouldn't have to pay for it.
No, don't let them wait. Then they pay for it. I mean, I can't say that. I told people to stop supporting us on Patreon. So can't throw stones in this glass house. Nick, what do you have going on? What should folks check out?
So I will be on tomorrow from 3 to 5 p.m. Central, playing on the live channel, just playing some Call of Duty, just to shoot the shit, is what we're calling that stream series unofficially. And then next Tuesday is when I will restart my Editor's Hour series, backlog series, whatever the hell we call it, from 3 to 5 p.m. Central. It's going to be me playing my backlog, so I set a challenge for myself last year to complete 30 games. I beat it, so you guys can't choose a awful game for me to play. doing the same thing this year, 30 games again. And I've been sharing my list of backlog games I want to play in the Discord. I'm not going to do full playthroughs of all of them because I don't want to commit to that. But basically every Tuesday, I'll just be loading up whatever game I'm playing in my backlog and playing through it on stream for 2 hours to make my way through it. And by the end of that stream, I might decide I hate it and I never want to touch it again, or I might love it and continue playing it.
And
So-
it's no guns allowed in the games, right?
No, not true at all.
Oh, well, if Thursday's for guns, Tuesday should be for not guns.
Well, let me look. There's 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, 4 games, 5,
You can find enough games without guns.
6,
There's so many games without guns.
7. Does Sunset Overdrive count as guns?
Yes, that has several guns in it. It's got so many guns in it.
I
The
figured.
entire
I
thing-
figured.
that game has so many guns.
I figured I'd get you on it just because you want me.
Play
to
it on Shoot the Shit.
No.
Also, if you did 30 last year, why don't you bump up those numbers?
Yeah, you gotta get those numbers up.
You got to get your strength. 40. I beat 105 games last year.
What?
Yeah.
Nah.
I believe
Yeah,
it.
if I-
Marty just be playing games, y'all.
That's
like
true.
you don't
He
understand.
I have
Like, Marty's-
photographic evidence of a lot of them.
Like Marty's gonna like leave this podcast and then just
How many
go
new games did you
stream a
play?
bunch of.
How many new games did I beat?
I don't think that matters. You still beat them.
I got my list. How many games did last year?
I gotta start keeping lists like you guys.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 20, 23 games.
Okay.
The one at the bottom of the list was Skull Island Rise of Kong.
Jeez. I need to stop
Okay.
going out and drinking and play more games.
You can do both. Just take your Switch to the bar.
Play
Okay.
drunk Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Tears of the
used,
Kingdom.
I used to come home during college and play drunk Rainbow Six Siege, and I was really good at it. Don't know
As
how.
maybe you thought you were because you were drunk.
Yeah.
My KD was still positive by the time I was done.
Your internet wasn't even connected.
KC, what do you got?
Oh,
My brain stopped there for a second.
I should be editing some stuff for I can say this, right? Like some Adventures Night adjacent thing
Oh yeah.
coming.
We're publicly said we're working on the remasters of season 1 and 2. We're joining the remaster game.
And some other side things. Some
Yeah,
secret
this
content.
is even
more
side than that.
stuff from season 3.
So look forward to that at some point in the future. In February, look for another bite. I'll probably have a different one before then, but look for a very special one in February because yes, I'm going to be doing the Wanted Dead bite-sized. And
Happy
I'm going to
Valentine's
make
Day.
I'm going to make it as stupid as I possibly can. I promise.
Happy Valentine's Day. Your Wanted Dead bite size has to feel like it was made by the developers of Wanted Dead.
That's a tall order.
Have Darren help you with that.
Have a full karaoke. Karaoke mini game inside of it.
But outside of that, like we mentioned earlier, Marty and I will be returning to Devil May Cry 2 on Thursday. Tomorrow. Jess and I will be bringing back some version of Hidden Gems. We'll name it eventually, guys. Don't worry. But that's going to be a recurring thing on Monday in the same time slot as before. So look forward to that. And generally, I'll just be around. I'm one of those guys.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and then I think we can also say Amy and Frost will be back with their Sunday streams. Because of Australian time, it's 1 p.m. Central now.
Mhm.
That might shift based on daylight savings time. They won't be doing Sekiro full game playthroughs, anything like that. They're just going to be playing a combination newly released and stuff that strikes their fancy. We haven't officially locked down the game this week, but tune in for that Sunday as a nice Sunday chill stream. Hell yeah.
Somebody asked earlier about Yahtzee's Dev Diary. We are bringing Yahtzee dev streams to Second Wind for Star Trek Vagabond. So he'll be doing basically some live QA with JMate, and I'll probably be on those streams occasionally as well as one of his producers, as his producer on the game. So those streams are not scheduled yet, but will be happening within the next week or two.
They are not going to happen in the next week or two, are they?
Yeah.
I thought we said that was way down the road. Well, this is
No, we're releasing the game in the spring.
Okay. We'll talk about this off stream. So for Nick, for Casey, and for Eric on the Wheels of Steel, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Firelink episode number 4. Thank you to everyone who supports us live via Super Chats, everyone who supports us on Patreon, everyone who listens on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. 5 stars, like. I don't know what you do on Apple Podcasts. Tell Tim Cook that we did a good job.
There's full-on written reviews.
Yeah, there you go. Give us a review, and we'll read your written reviews. But thank you guys so much, and we'll see you all tomorrow, 3 p.m. Central, for Nick Shoots the Shit.
And don't forget, Patreon has annual memberships now. You can go subscribe and get 10% discount on any of our tiers.
Discounts.
A lot of you signed up today, so thank you.
He counts.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.